Okay, stand by, 10 seconds.
I think we're live and we're online. All right, everybody, I wanted to thank you for coming to our Human Services Commission for Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Our first order of business, we will have a roll call for our commissioners that are here. We will have some that may attend online remotely, and we do have a couple of excused today. However, we have already reached quorum in the chamber, so we'll be able to move forward. So if I call your name, please announce that you're here. Dahlia Martinez and Tiffany Walker is excused. Angelina Goldwell, she will be online. Is she up?
Can you hear us, Angelina?
Not quite yet. All right, not yet. Is Nancy online?
She is.
Nancy Dila? Can you hear us, Nancy? Not yet. Okay, no problem. And then we have Yvette Temple
Here.
and Lester Dixon and our youth council representative El Haj Torre. Awesome. That'll bring us to our land acknowledgement. We, the city of Lacey, are on ancestral land of the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek, including the Nisqually Indian Tribe and Squaxin Island Tribe. We acknowledge and remember those tribal people not recognized today who were absorbed or relocated into other tribes for survival. We recognize the ancestors and their descendants who are still here. We recognize and respect the tribal people of the Treaty of Medicine Creek and the traditional stewards of this land since time immemorial, and their role today in taking care of these lands in perpetuity. We recognize and have the responsibility to call to attention to the histories of dispossession, forced removal, and abridged treaty rights that allowed our nation, state, and city to develop as they have today. We recommend that everyone in the community read the Medicine Creek Treaty of 1854. Our next item of business we do have Angelina and Nancy online. Are you able to hear us?
I'm here.
Good, great, awesome. All right, so if I could, I'm recommending if anybody could motion to approve the agenda as amended to remove item B2 and the minutes of April 3rd, 2025.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended to remove item B2 and the minutes of April 3rd.
Do I have anyone second? Second, okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, that motion passes and we have approval of the agenda, previous meeting minutes, and the amended item B2 from April 3rd. It looks like item number 5, we have public comment, but I don't believe anybody signed up. Has that changed? I don't know. I did see some people up there, so I don't know if it was. Okay, I just saw some people up there. I didn't know if they had signed up.
Most are presenters.
There might be.
I think they're all presenters.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure before we move on. Okay, thank you. All right, that will take us to item number 6 is our business items. And today we have a very special day because it is our public hearing. But first, we're going to go into our community development block grant fund allocation. And that is going to be a presentation on the updates by Michelle Chavez, our human services coordinator.
Go ahead and share the screen here. Okay, can everybody see the presentation online? Great.
Yeah. So you all had in your packet a staff report regarding the Community Development Block Grant Program. Today is going to be public hearing number 1 for the 2025 Community Development Block Grant Program for the city of Lacey.
Can I interrupt you? Wait, can you go ahead and open the public hearing?
Absolutely. So first I wanted to open up the public hearing for anybody that wanted to come forward and speak.
What we did in that inside.
Okay, great. So we can move on.
And most of the time.
Oh, at 5:35.
And then we'll go on to the presentation.
Okay, great. So with nobody here to have public comment, we'll move on to Michelle Chavez's presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a staff report here for the Community Development Block Grant Program. This is public hearing number 1 for the Block Grant Program. On your staff report, you had 3 attachments, a list of eligible activities, the timeline for the program, and a draft of the consolidated plan and annual action plan. So I'm going to go through a brief presentation for you. This is informational only, no action is requested. So this is an overview of the CDBG timeline, potential projects. We're going to go over our human services recommendation from this for the short term of the program, grant considerations, so how the program differs from this program that we're talking about tonight, the other program, and then what are the next steps. So the CDBG program aligns with our city goals, and we had the council had taken action to create an entitlement program, adopt the plan, and manage the funding going forward after 2025. It also aligns with our DEIB program goals and livability. So we need to follow the federal guidelines for this grant program, and so we have to qualify our activities under one of 3 objectives. We benefit to low to moderate income persons, aid in the prevention of slum or blight, or meet an urgent need. The estimated allocation for the city of Lacey is $348,393 for the year 2025. To go over how we can spend the dollars, this is federal rules. This is 15% for public service, a maximum of 20% for admin, no maximum on capital projects, which is brick and mortar projects. It also includes infrastructure projects such as public works and parks and projects in low to moderate neighborhoods. Projects typically ineligible for community development block grant are general government expenses, improvements to city halls, police stations, stadiums, etc., political activities, certain income payments, and new permanent residential housing construction. So how do we certify projects for these dollars? We would do an initial review and consult with HUD if we're not sure if it's eligible activity. All programs and projects must meet the national objective, be an eligible activity, and we would qualify them under area benefit, limited clientele, or housing benefit. Those are the 3 ways we can make sure that they are adhering to the federal guidelines. So the upcoming timeline is this is our first public hearing. We're required to do 2 public hearings this year. First public hearing is just to let people know that this is happening, and we're going to be putting out a consolidated plan. That draft plan will be issued June 26th. That will have the draft. We will meet again on June 26th. This body will meet. We'll have a second public hearing on June 26th. We will look through the plan. We'll go over the plan, and then a public comment period will be open for 30 days. From June 26th to July 22nd. Then public will be able to view it online, pick up copies here in City Hall. They can also email me their comments. And then City Council will get that draft on July 22nd with the idea of making the final approval on August 5th. So this is all, we are on a timeline that the federal government requires. We really can't adjust this timeline too much this year. So one of the things we want to do is try to certify projects that are in the Lacey area benefits. So these neighborhoods qualify already for this block grant based on the neighborhood and based on the census tract. They're 51% or more low to moderate income residents. You all have voted to look at city capital projects for the first couple of years because we don't have a lot of money and we don't have a lot of admin dollars right now and admin staff. So we would hopefully be able to look at city capital for the first year or 2 and then move forward to other options in the future. You all voted to put 10% to admin, you can spend up to 20%, but without having a competitive capital project or a service program, there's less dollars, less admin time needed to be spent. So these are some potential city projects that we talked about at your last meeting. There's some parks projects, sidewalks. None of this stuff has been decided. This is all for the future discussion. This is information only. We've talked to the city council about this once. We're gonna come back and talk about it again. But these are things that could be improved in low to moderate income neighborhoods, parks that are in the neighborhoods. We could also do pedestrian improvements or other infrastructure improvements like sidewalk crossing improvements and lighting. So capital projects in cities that have smaller pots of money are things like parks, ADA ramps. This is an example of Walla Walla. San Francisco, they did all their ADA curbs in a low to moderate income neighborhood. Portland, Maine, again, sidewalk improvements. Lacey, Washington, we had used CDBG in a previous allocation from the state to upgrade our senior center. And then Yelm has used it to develop a splash pad in a low to mod neighborhood. So again, the idea is recommended from the commission was to start the first few years of funding to do capital with 10% admin, then reevaluate our capacity going forward. So how does community development block grant and the human services grant program, how are they different? This question comes up. A lot of grant applicants may not qualify for CDBG because there's a lot of rigid federal requirements, so it's more flexible as to how much we can spend. If we want to spend it all on services, we could. CDBG has a cap, so we can only spend 15%. It has many more requirements, much more intensive to manage, less accessible to smaller nonprofits. In previous program timelines, if we had both of them going at the same time, it could potentially cause confusion and additional tension on our grantees. So the maximum that we can spend if we on this allocation for CDBG would be 52,000, which as opposed to this grant program, we can spend 300,000 on the services. So again, the next steps is we're writing the draft consolidated plan. We will bring that back to you in the late June. Incorporate feedback from you all, and we'll be continually incorporating feedback from the community as we move through that process. Bring a draft to the council in July, more discussion about how the council feels, and then hopefully they would take action and approve that submittal in early August. That concludes my presentation. I'll open it up for questions.
So we will open this up right now for questions. First, do the commissioners have any questions regarding this presentation? Nancy or Angelina online? This is pretty much the same as what we saw last time.
Yeah, very good presentation. It's exciting.
Yeah, I think this is all pretty straightforward of what we saw at the last meeting. So if nobody else on the commission has any other comments or questions on this, great. And then we would open that up to the public, but I don't think anybody signed up to speak. Okay, so as long as the commissioners don't have any other further questions or comments on this portion regarding the CDBG fund allocation, we will close the public hearing, and that time is 5:43. All right. Now on to the Human Services Grant Program update and applicant presentations, and back to Michelle Chavez.
Thank you, Brandon. I do not have a PowerPoint regarding this item. This is the exciting part where we get to talk to our applicants about their projects and programs for 2025. Just in your staff report, I just want to remind you, we have 300,000 for this year. The applications were part of the agenda packet along with everybody's proposed budgets, as well as the rubric. And you are gonna get email from me with the rubric tomorrow too, so you'll have electronic copies because it is a fillable PDF. Let's see. So again, the program is for essential social services, housing, survival and security. The maximum program grant allowed for capital and service projects is 50,000 each. The city commission, the Human Services Commission is reviewing the applications, scoring them, and then making a recommendation for city council to make the final decision on how the funds will be spent. The applications were open from April 8th to May 23rd. An application workshop was held on May 8th. We received 21 applications from 21 agencies for a total request of $848,000. One for-profit agency applied, was not eligible because this pot of money is only available to nonprofits. We had, as Brandon mentioned, we amended the agenda, one nonprofit withdrew. So we now have 20 applications from 20 agencies.
Yeah, and thanks, Michelle. And before we get into the presentations, this is, last time we did this, we were the Human Services Work Group, which was an ad hoc. And we came together quickly, and we've had more time, and we've added some new members to an official commission put together by the city of Lacey. So we're super grateful that the city of Lacey continued with this program and, really takes it seriously on how to allocate these funds. But that being said, the presentations help us a lot because I'm not familiar with most of the programs. Some of the people on this commission know you guys very well, and some we just don't know. So this presentation is super helpful for us to get a grasp. And I know you only have a limited amount of time, so don't panic. And because I know, what is it, 3 minutes? 5 minutes.
We have a very gentle timer that John is
Way to
helping us
stress
with.
them all out.
I'm hopeful that you went from 3 to 5, so you feel better now. I'm hopeful that we're still able to ask a few questions if they're.
Yes.
Okay,
The idea is the 5 minutes for presentation with questions after.
so there may be some questions from the commission just to help clarify, if there's anything that they want to know further about. So we're probably able to move on to that now. And first up for presenting this evening is Olympia Camp Kiddies, and we have Carrie Graff.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Well, if you could use the podium, that would be great.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
And then I brought just some cards that we
That'd
hand
be
out.
helpful. We'll take all those pamphlets and all those things from you guys. That would be great.
All right. Well, thank you so much for, oops, sorry. Did I do that? No,
That's me.
that's you. Okay, phew.
Oh,
Nancy has a question.
sorry, can I pause for 1 second? Nancy, one of our commissioners did have her hand raised. I apologize.
Just two questions I have. Will we be hearing from all of the 20 groups tonight? Or is that part of what the June 26th meeting is for? And Michelle, could you collect for me the handouts for tonight, and I would stop by and pick them up? They were
Sure.
really helpful last year as I reviewed it. So I
Absolutely.
appreciate it very much.
Absolutely, we'll do that for you. All of the presentations
Thank you.
will be tonight, so
I believe everybody's here,
we won't have additional presentations
except for Mayor Horton.
on the
So
26th.
which one dropped out?
Vista Village.
That's the village, okay.
Okay, Carrie.
And do I control the slides or will you do it?
There's a clicker up there,
Okay.
and if it gets stuck, all I have to do is click on that with this little mouse and you can forward it.
Okay, thank you. So my name is Carrie. I'm a board member of All Lake Camp Kitties. Despite our name, we do work with people in Lacey, so I will get to that. So our mission is to provide free spay neuter services for cats owned by homeless people in the Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater area. And so a little bit of background, one of our board members had been working with folks living in encampments for many years. One of the people she was working with needed some help getting her cats fixed. So Whitney fixed that cat, and then the friend said, or the person living in the encampment said, well, I have friends who also need help with this. And so Whitney started doing drives where she would bring 5, 10, 15 cats up to clinics. She was paying out of pocket at first. And then we formed a nonprofit to start doing this work. And so these are just pictures of some of the first kitties that we worked with. So the problem that we're trying to address is, as we all know, homelessness is on the rise. And many unhoused people own pets. Sometimes we get asked, well, you know, should we really be supporting people owning pets when they can't afford to take care of them? The reality is people they are going to have pets. So we are trying to meet people where they're at with that. Existing free spay neuter services or low cost spay neuter services are not targeted towards folks who are unhoused. We're the only organization that does this work. So we go to encampments, we go to shelters like Maple Court, we go to tiny home villages. We pick up the cats right from where people are living. They don't have to make phone calls. They don't have to drive anywhere. We do all the work for them to make sure their cats gets taken care of. You know, let's see, trying to stay for 5 minutes. Okay, I feel like I am stuck. I'm sorry. Thank you. So the solution is, just as I mentioned, we transport cats directly. We meet people right where they're living. We cover 100% of the costs, and we work closely with a lot of community partners, places like Interfaith Catholic Community Services, Lehigh, to make sure that we're actually, you know, reaching folks who need our services. Just a little background about a cat run. These are very fun. I get to volunteer on these a lot. We will sign people up ahead of time through case managers, or people can contact us directly. You'll see on our card, we have information about how people can reach us. 2 days beforehand, we verify with everybody they're still interested. And then the day before a clinic, we go round up cats from Lacey, Olympia, Tumwater, bring them to Whitney's house overnight. And the next day we take them to a clinic where they get fixed. And then we return them right to the owner the next day. Here's our mission, vision, values, really centered around providing a judgment-free space for people, trying to empower people to seek care for their animals, and making sure that we're not having too many cats born in Thurston County. So our work in Lacey, despite our name, we certainly serve people who live in Lacey. I was trying to estimate, I think it's probably about 50 to 70 cats per year in the Lacey urban growth area. It's a little hard to track because our clients do move or are unhoused, so we may not have an address. But I was looking at the work we did with the rights of way encampment removals, places like Sherwood Forest, Hamburger Hill. We worked with a lot of folks who, as they were moving from Lacey area encampments into housing, we worked to support them. We work with the Maple Court and Hand Shelter. We work with a lot of folks who are couch surfing or living in vehicles. We also worked with a big cat hoarding situation last year. I incorrectly, I think in some places in my request, asked for $10,000. It's actually $7,000. Since we're estimating that we have maybe 70 cats per year, it costs us about $100 per cat to fix them and give them basic vaccines. So with $100 per cat times 70 cats, $7,000. We're all volunteer. We have low operating costs. The money goes directly to spay neuter. And we've been fixing approximately 240 to 250 cats total per year. Our priority focus, I listed us as survival. You know, people love their cats. They tell us cats are family. Cats are often something that is keeping them going through a very difficult situation. So opportunities to care for cats is keeping people engaged in their own care. Once they know that the cat that they really love, and maybe the only thing in their life, you know, that's significant to them, once they know that cat's safe, they can start taking care of themselves. We often find that when people are offered shelter, if they know that their cat's cared for, they're more willing to move into shelter. And so we like to work really closely with our community partners when folks are transitioning, you know, from living outside into like Maple Court. And I think that is, I think I'm done. So.
Good job, look at that. Right on the bell, thanks.
All right. It's,
Do you have any questions?
I do have one.
Yes.
Or maybe a couple questions. Can you just tell me a little bit about how the outreach works? Do you guys just frequent the encampments and or places that you know where you might find cats that need to be spayed or neutered, and do you just ask around who needs it? I would assume maybe it's probably not high on the priority list for people to reach out to you.
Yeah, so There's a few ways that we do outreach. As encampments have started to be cleared in the Thurston County area and consolidated into places like Maple Court or some of the tiny home villages, we've started doing a lot of outreach directly to shelters in tiny home villages. So I just did an event yesterday where I went to a tiny home village. I had sign up sheets for people. We give out cat food. We do basic vaccines. So we do direct outreach with our community partners. We have actually found that word of mouth is really getting around as well. So we have a website where people can fill out a form to access our services. We have a phone number that you can text us at. A lot at this point of our word of mouth is through places like Interfaith Low Income Housing Institute, telling their clients like, hey, you should get in touch with Ollie Camp Kitties.
Yeah, it's really great that you guys are going, and, you know, cause the barrier for people getting their cats to you is obviously,
Yeah.
you know, gonna be really hard, so it's really cool that you guys go and do that, but.
So can I just, I have a question to follow up. So I know you asked for the 7,000, but then I heard you talk about, you give out cat food and vaccines as well. Is that
That's not part of.
not a part of it? I mean, I think that's really cool. That's why it caught my attention.
Yes, it is. We were just requesting for the spay neuter services. If that was, I mean, obviously whatever you're interested in. But yes, what we were, it's about $100 on average. We work with a number of different clinics. Some are like $80 a cat, some are $130 a cat. So it averages out to about, they do get vaccines with their spay neuter as well. They get vaccines, flea, worm treatment. They can get microchipped if they want. So, but yes, the funds for food and our own outreach efforts, I think, are separate.
Oh, we just have a question from Angelina online here.
Thank you so much for being here and for your comprehensive presentation. I was curious, I heard you say that that the cats are taken, they're spayed, and then they are returned to their owners. What happens in the event that because you know, spaying being a minor surgery, if there are like post-surgical complications? I don't know. I don't have cats, so I don't
Yes.
know what the
So we have that, I think it's listed in one of our budgets. We will pay for follow-up vet care for complications. And so we do have, I want to say it's about $3,000 or so that we budget every year for follow-up care. Or every once in a while, somebody will bring a cat to us that's really sick, can't be fixed at that time. And so we will pay for vet care to hopefully get the cat better.
Great, thank you.
One question here.
Yes.
Has anyone ever left the cat with you?
That's a really, we talked about that at a meeting, like what will we do if somebody
Yes.
just left the cat with us? They never have, but what does happen occasionally is people will say, I can't care for my cat anymore.
Hmm.
And so then we have partnerships with shelters in like Seattle, as well of course, the Thurston County shelter. We have partnerships where we can transfer the cat to shelters that we know are basically no-kill shelters. But nobody has ever just abandoned their, people love their cats so much. It is quite something to hear a lot of the stories from people, but.
Awesome.
Sure. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carrie, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right.
Next up, we have For the Love Foundation. And we have, is it Tessa and Tiffany? All right.
You're in charge. Hi, I think it's fine. I'll just leave these here. If you guys want to look up
Yes, thank you.
anything about For the Love on there.
I'm like, do I start at any time? I'm sorry.
So you can,
Yeah,
if
start
the
to start.
clicker doesn't work, I'll just click on this and then it'll start working again.
Which button do I?
The
Just
middle
top
one,
Oh, the
the
middle.
middle one will forward, it should forward it.
Okay.
So good afternoon and thank you for your time. I'm Tiffany Munoz and here with me is Tessa Eflin. We are here on behalf of for the Love Foundation. We are a grassroots volunteer-led nonprofit dedicated to meeting people where they are in the time of crisis. And let's see. So every day in Thurston County, families are forced to make impossible decisions: rent or groceries, gas to get to work, or medical care. Our program responds to three critical areas that you see here on the slide. One is housing stability, which includes rent help, emergency motel stays, utilities, and domestic violence relocation. Another category we have is survival, which entails a lot of items like grocery carts, food boxes for some of our holiday items, gas cards, and as well as security. So our domestic violence survivor kits, there's shelter, we have foster care, holiday support. And with these requests, we do act within 24 to 72 hours of the referrals. And before I hand it over to Tessa to kind of go into some of our success stories and boxes of thanks and some of the programs that we have, regarding our fulfillment year to date, just from January to end of May, we have already fulfilled a little over $80,000. And that is a total of 123 requests that have been fulfilled. And that's all over in Thurston County that we are assisting. For example, housing stability in the different areas that were categorized on the previous slide, 91 of those requests were filled for that alone. Our biggest chunk so far has been rental and mortgage assistance that we see a lot of. 51 of those out of that 91 is what those are from. For the survival category, for gas cards, food cards, we're at 30. And then for security regarding domestic violence related and relocation, we have a total of 28 out of those 123. And so I'll go ahead and pass it over to Tessa to discuss those other three items.
Okay. So hi, I'm Tessa and I am a co-founder for The Love and work closely with all the events and all the programs that we do. And I noticed some people out there that we work closely with, which are amazing. So a lot of the fulfillment that we do, we're very close to. So not only do we email them back, but we call them back. So we have that voice to voice connection. And these are some of the stories that I will talk to quickly, but we'll share and can always send them to you via email. I call it a small ask and a big impact. We had a North Thurston School District principal go ahead and email us regarding a student that was extremely successful, kind, nice, amazing at school, but had been dealing with a lot of trauma, homelessness, living out of his car. And he was a junior and he really wanted to get his driver's license. It is known that as far as graduating and moving on and getting out of homelessness and low income, having a car is very important. So we went ahead and paid for his driver's ed. He graduated this year and with his driver's license and is on his way to his first job in his car that is used that he managed to get with his driver's license. So a good impact story of the small things that we do every day here in Lacey to impact your students. Another thing is giving hope, building security. This is my favorite thing and I'm gonna have to talk fast. So Darnell is a friend of mine who went ahead and asked for The Love to fulfill on a friend of his. His friend called, he was a single father of 2 children going to school here in Lacey. The children had some handicaps. He could not work, he lost his job. He was a single father. And he got back on his rent, he needed utilities. And so For The Love not only helped him with that back pay, he also got a job with some of our For The Love volunteers. And he is living happily with a job in Tacoma with his kids in the Tacoma School District now. Our relationships with the North Thurston School District are strong and tight. And I will share a letter with you all via email regarding something from Brenda. in North Thurston School District when we're done.
Any comments from the commission? Questions? Angelina, you're up. And I feel like we're having a hard time hearing Angelina. Is it because?
That's a good question. Maybe I can just talk louder?
No, it's like you're not coming through our speaker system in the
Oh,
in the chamber. So if we're all really quiet, we can hear you.
no worries. I can also put questions into the chat
No.
if that's
No, it's okay. We can hear. It just, I was wondering if there can be something could be done around here, but it's okay.
sure. I'll see if I can fiddle on my side in between presentations. What I'm curious about is there are so many established organizations working around housing and ad hoc stability needs. Where do you see your organization filling gaps? Do you know what I'm saying? Or do you see yourself as a supplement, as a coming alongside? Are other nonprofits sort of looking to you to assist in some situations where they may not have the capacity, et cetera, to assist? Sort of how do you see yourself in relation to other community partners?
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I can.
And then I'll follow up.
Okay, so we fill in the gaps in a lot of different places. Typically, a lot of the other resources are utilized by the time they reach us. And so we are kind of like their last resort. So we have a handful of partnerships that we have, and they'll send those individuals to us when they are at cap for those items for them. And then that's how we have partnerships with Together, the Firefighters Community Foundation, where we have had success stories where all of us have partaken in some way, shape, or form in assisting in those needs.
So along with that, there are a dozen organizations that come to us with fulfillment. So we are definitely not necessarily side by side, or we're the ones that are getting the call when they run out of money, which happens to be like March of every year. We're funded by the community, 85% funded by the community. So we don't have a lot of red tape. We are unrestricted in our funds. For instance, one of the projects that we do that is unique is our boxes of thanks at Thanksgiving, where just in Lacey alone, even though we do all of Thurston County and all of Thurston County schools, the 24 schools of North Thurston School District, we had 600 families that we delivered meals to, and for our sheltered, and then our unsheltered, we do like grocery bags, so it's easy for them to still have a meal for their family. That's over 3,000 of your students that sit in those 24 schools here in North Thurston. Also, this year alone, we did 14 families in the North Thurston School District during Christmas, which is a unique situation. 52 of your students with their moms, dads, and siblings received Christmas gifts. So the gaps come from everywhere, from requests, community use services. There's a whole list of them. I think there's 12 of them that we listed that we help, and that's where money goes. And those are just the stories of a few things that we do here in Lacey.
Yeah, that's great. I think also, Angelina, I don't think it got pulled up there, but on the presentation, there is a list of some of the collaborators that you guys have used or that you guys typically work with in the community here. I'm just wondering roughly, like, how are we, I know you guys work in conjunction with the North Thurston Public Schools, and like, how are we gonna be certain like this is gonna like really affect the city of Lacey and maybe not, Rochester or some other area where we know these funds are specifically allocated for Lacey? Do you guys have like a specific plan, like where you earmark them for this specific, no, these are only gonna go to North Thurston Public Schools or something like that?
Would be going to Lacey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Lacey community. So either it's easy for
if it's a request from the
from
city of-
Lacey, yeah.
Mhm.
If it's anyone that lives in the Lacey community, that's where the money would be going to.
Yeah, we have a fulfillment spreadsheet, so when requests come in, we're able to identify where those items, or those requests, I should say, are coming from, where they're located, and so it's easy for us to identify that.
And just to verify, you are requesting 50,000?
Yes, but we are open to a counter and we're open to sharing. That was what the application was submitted for, just based on our current usage of our own allocated funds for the year. It would definitely be utilized, but any little bit helps in any.
So how long you been doing this services?
For me, myself, I've been probably helping out for a couple of years. I've been officially on the board. This month actually marks a year for me. So, but the foundation was established in 2021.
So in 2020, it was established. Nicole and I co-founded it. It was just the two of us during the pandemic. And I own a gym. She owned a restaurant, so we were both closed down. It gave us opportunity to use her restaurant to make food and deliver it to all the families that we possibly could with the hundreds of volunteers that we got. We used my gym for all the grocery bags. We delivered to North Thurston School District every single week, bags of groceries for their families at the old Valley's Athletic Club. Is that what that is? Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I think that's what it is. I don't know what it is now. So we've been doing it for about, 5 years, and it has grown exponentially from Nicole and I to a smaller board of 5 to now there's 11 people on the board, and we have over 800 volunteers.
So how many of your families have you serviced last year?
Families in what capacity?
Whatever service you provide within the Lacey community area.
I don't have numbers on that. We have the total dollar amounts, but I just have the number of what we've done so far this year. But it's we're already at 123 fulfillments for this year alone. I know well over 100, I believe, is in our application for Lacey was assisted last year.
You said over half?
Over 100 is what I believe it was input into our application.
We can get that number for you.
Yeah, no, that would be helpful.
Yeah, no, we can do that.
Well, great. Thank you so much for everything you do for the community. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here, can I make a comment?
Please.
I just wanted to remind folks that all of the presentations from tonight have been uploaded to the public agenda. So if people don't get all the way through their slides, you can go and look at all the slides on our website.
Yep.
All right, next up, we have Rebuilding Together Thurston County, and we have Pete.
Hi, yes, I'm Pete Kamat. I'm a board member and volunteer for Rebuilding Together Thurston County. And we've got a presentation here. Yeah, so we're an organization very similar to Habitat. Habitat, I see, is on the agenda here for something similar to what we do. But for years, their focus has been on new homes. We do repairs to existing homes. So that's really our mission, is repairing homes that people live in. They can't afford to make those repairs themselves, or don't have the skills or the money to hire a contractor. So we do that work for them at no cost to them. Let's just keep going here. Am I able to move this?
If you push the middle button, it should forward.
There we go.
There it is.
We often do this with volunteers. Community groups come together and help us, for example, painting houses, doing yard work, simple things like that. We also have a core group of skilled volunteers like myself that go out and do repairs on houses, wide variety of things. I'll show you a few pictures. And what's really interesting is when you talk to folks, it's really not just about fixing their house. It's also reducing their stress, and it really changes their lives by having a safe house to live in. We're a nonprofit, been around for about 20 years here in Thurston County. We're affiliated with a group of about over 100 throughout the country. Like I said, a lot of our work's done by volunteers. We have 3 part-time staff, 1 person in the field, a couple in the office, that manage our work. Yeah, so anyway. And we will hire contractors when there's enough money to like replace a roof or something like that. Our typical client is a single woman, often a widow in her late 60s. They're in a manufactured home or older home where there's lots of deferred maintenance. Things haven't been done for years. Her income typically is just Social Security, and I mean minimal Social Security. Often they have a disability, they have little family support network, and really just no ability to do the work themselves. So these are the kinds of things that we do. A lot of it's around accessibility. Folks become disabled, they need a wheelchair ramp to get into their house. We have a group of volunteers that will build wheelchair ramps. Bayview Lumber gives us a discount on those materials that we'll build. Grab bars we'll install. A lot of folks need grab bars, high profile toilets, accessible bathtubs. You can see one of the things that we'll hire a contractor to do this little cut into a bathtub to give them an easy step into their bathtub. That's not cheap, by the way. That can run several $1,000s just to do that kind of work. We'll also do a lot of safety stuff, smoke detectors, give them a fire extinguisher, show them how to use it, put in ground fault interrupt outlets, improve lighting, handrails, all of those things that help make a house safe, and a lot of which are non-functional or not working very well. A lot of the work we do relates to water damage, bathrooms, kitchens. Amazing how much the floors, even a small leak. I've just been working on a house outside of Tumwater, a small leak from a hot water heater that, in a manufactured house, that's a particle board floor. It turns to mush. The thing practically fell through the floor. So we had to pull the hot water heater and redo the floor underneath it just to make it so that it would work. Roofing, siding, windows, lots of places where there's water leaks. And again, some of that work can be done by volunteers or skilled volunteers. Sometimes we have to hire contractors to do work like roofs. It's just something we will not put a volunteer on the roof. And then just the kind of livability things. These are things that a group of volunteers can do. We'll have in the spring, we'll have kind of a rebuilding day event where bring folks in to replace a deck, clean up their yards, paint houses, both interior and exterior. So a lot of that type of work. This is an example of a house here just by North Thurston where the deck was done and Home Depot donated the materials and that nice patio set for it. So our ask is $50,000. Construction is very expensive. Although I will say it's a wide range. Our average price is about $3,400 over the last 3 years, but it can range from $100 with donated materials and a few dollars to a roof that could easily cost $25,000, frankly. So with that money, we think we could probably do 5 to 7 homes. But our request is entirely scalable. You've got a lot of great organizations you're going to hear from here. So, I think we can work with whatever you can give us. Last year, I think last few years, Lacey's given us about 30,000 grants through, I think, community development block grant funds. And so we use that for a wide variety of improvements. Just to give you the idea of the scale, in Thurston County, we received 95 applications. That's worked through word of mouth. We don't have to go out. We'll work in a lot of it's a mobile home park where you work on one house and pretty soon the neighbors talk to each other, and we're doing other houses in that mobile home park. So we received 92 applications last year. We completed repairs on around 55 homes, 13 of which were in Lacey. So, and I worked on a couple of these homes in Lacey where we had to do some pretty significant work. to keep the house livable. So it's really a challenge. It's amazing how many folks are living on the edge. Something breaks, they go without hot water for years until they hear about us, you know, or some of the organizations. So, you know, we do what we can to try and keep people in their houses, basically. So,
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
questions?
Any questions from our commission? I
Thank you.
think, yeah, I think you did answer. Appreciate that.
Wanted to know how many.
Full questions.
We have Nancy, and I don't know why we're not seeing Nancy's
Raise hand.
raised hand.
My problem tonight, you guys, is I don't have enough hands. I have to hold my phone and I'm trying to take notes, so I decided.
Okay, well, you're on, Nancy, and we can hear you well.
All right, I heard, thank you for your presentation. I heard that you had 90 applicants. How does someone access your service? Is there like a central point that they apply to?
Yeah, we have a website. Of course, we have a, you know, phone number they can call, a website. All these groups refer each other. We were referring everybody to each other to, you know, if we don't have the money, we'll refer them to Habitat or Community Action Council, and we get referrals from them. A lot of it's just word of mouth. There's a form online that they can access, or we can mail it to them and they can fill it out and deliver it to us.
And then my second question is a little harder. Having had a few repair jobs done, I'm wondering if any of the repair work has to be done to a code, and does it meet that code?
Yeah, so if it's something that requires a permit, we'll get a permit for that. Yeah, and we have folks in our skilled volunteers that are retired contractors, plumbers, electricians that know the code that can guide those. A lot of things that are pretty simple though. Replacing a floor is not that hard, really. You know?
Okay, thank you.
Nancy.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pete.
I'm gonna leave for the evening.
Okay, bye. We have YWCA Olympia and is it Tolly?
Yes, Tolly, not Tardy, but Tolly.
It's a beautiful name, economy.
I have no slides, so you're just gonna have to look at my
That's all right.
face.
We're
It's all good.
have your application we can pull up, so no problem.
Okay. Just, it's paperwork, because I figured you all would have lots of questions and I came prepared. So the YWCA has been around since 1945. This year we celebrate 80 years serving the community in various different capacities. Our mission statement has been eliminating racism and empowering women for the last 80 years. Our program that we're looking to get funding for today is Kathleen's Cause, which has been serving the community since 2001. Kathleen's Cause, its program focuses on originally giving women access, multiple domestic violence survivors, access to like professional clothing, so stuff to get ready for interviews. In the last 2 years, we've decided to expand that. We have expanded in listening and centering Black and brown voices, and what we have heard from those participants are, we need money, we need more than just, you know, some fancy clothes. So we've expanded over the last 2 years what that looks like. What that looks like now is like not only on top of interview clothes that we also offer, once they get a job, those professional clothes, so scrubs, steel-toed boots, non-slip shoes, any basic equipment that they need for their job, as well as giving them enough money to make it to that first paycheck. So we have a small financial stipend, goes up to about $150. That's to pay for gas and to pay for food, as long as getting grocery cards until they get their first paycheck. All they have to do to qualify for that is come in and show us proof of employment. That can be a letter, letter of employment. That employer can personally call us. They can give us an email. It can be a pay stub if they've already been hired and are looking for a little bit of assistance. We just need that little bit right there. We have great partnerships with folks like Oshawa's Cultural Community Center, SPSCC, Workforce, lots of, over the years, because we've been around for so long, we have great relationships with CYS, as well as a lot of caseworkers that will refer folks that they have from, particularly like tiny homes or women that are surviving from domestic violence, refer them to us. And we'll get them those basic things and those basic needs that they need. Last year, we only had served 28 folks. This year, we're not even all the way through. We served 189 as of this year, which is way more than what we had budgeted for, but that's a good problem to have these days. We're seeing, I have some basic demographic numbers. 89% of the people who use the service have been female identifying, 10% have been gender nonconforming, with 1% choosing not to identify. Also a big part of getting access is that it's low barrier. All we ask them are some basic information. We don't ask for address, just what county they live in, how much money are they bringing in each year, and some basic identifiers, because a lot of folks are domestic violence survivors and have fears and worries about giving personal information. 62% of those folks have been white. This is Thurston County. There are a lot of white people. 38% of those have identified as BIPOC. 90% of those have come from Thurston County, 8% from Lewis, and 2% from Mason, with 38% of those being here from Lacey. We get a lot of donations of things like brand new shoes from Gabby's Kids. Gabby's great. If anyone knows Olympic Comics, who donates brand new shoes for the program. CAC is another organization that we get a lot of referrals and stuff from. And so we have great community partners that we have built long relationships over a long time that help us be able to get not only word of mouth, but also like give us resources, or we are able to do some wraparound services around the things that we provide. We also have people have said that getting to us is a little hard. We're located in downtown San Diego and the historic Kearney House, which has been around for over 100 years. So we've started doing pop-up shops. We've been going to SPSCCs, both their Olympia campus and their Lacey campus, as well as going to other places and just showing up with a myriad of clothing and stuff that people have. People can also call and request stuff, and we can leave it at a drop-off space as well if they need certain items. And we also do small requests. So if they need something hyper specific that we don't have and it's within a reasonable budget, we will be more than happy to get that item for them. The biggest piece that we're seeing is that people are, having to not worry about, especially if they get that job, not having to worry about how am I going to feed my kids for the week, how am I going to get gas, where am I going to get food? All those things are taken care of. We'll take care of that, as well as doing some wraparound. We have great relationships, like I said, with our community partners, so we're able to refer them to people who can help them outside of our small 5-man staff. And then a big thing I see is how do we center Black and Brown voices? We are a majority Black and Brown collective. Out of the 5 people that we employ, 4 of those are BIPOC folks. Our board is mostly Black and Brown folks. And so we listen to what they're hearing from their different organizations and the community that they're interacting with, as well as the folks that we brought in just by simply being Black and Brown and being in charge of organizations like that. I think I came in under time with 17 seconds.
You were going. Thanks, Talia.
Thank you. I have a question,
Yes.
if I may.
Yeah, please.
And I don't know if it's because maybe you're nervous, but you said you're centered in downtown San Diego?
No, I'm sorry.
I did.
Downtown. I'm from San Diego.
I lived there a long time too. So I was
Yeah,
like,
from
what?
Lamesa.
OB.
In downtown Olympia. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I figured that's what was up, but I wanted to clarify.
I'm glad you did. I was wondering.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
My mother was complaining about things.
Does your inventory mostly consist of donations, or you're just buying
I would
things
say,
and having like a stock?
I would say, and this is a rough estimate, don't have the number. I'd say 70% of it is donations. A lot of family members die, a lot of churches. We get a lot of stuff from churches. We get so much stuff that we have to turn away people, but that doesn't matter. They still leave it on the porch.
Yeah.
So we get lots, 70% of that, and the other 30% is usually that hyper specific stuff. So we have partnerships with Soroptimist, which has a lot of retired nurses, which donates a lot of our scrubs. We have Gabby's as well, and several shoe stores within the area that we have deals that we can get cheaper amounts. And we also have a partnership with Red Wing Shoes, particularly for steel toe boots for folks working in construction or beginning stuff in construction.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we have the North Thurston Education Foundation and Deanna East. And Fred. I don't have that on here, sorry.
That's okay.
Hi,
am Deanna East. I'm the Executive Director of North Thurston Education Foundation, and I brought with me Brenda McCafferty. She's the McKinney-Vento and Foster Care Liaison for North Thurston Public Schools and happens to be one of our board members. So, so our mission is to mobilize resources necessary for enriching programs, providing basic needs, and enhancing the educational opportunities for students and staff of North Thurston Public Schools. But our vision is that every student, regardless of their financial situation, has the opportunity to excel and achieve their dreams. We do this with partnerships. This is working.
It should work now.
There we go. We do this with partnerships. The majority of our programs are for our homeless and low-income students. We collaborate with local businesses, community groups, and individuals to raise funds and awareness about the needs of our students. Because of these partnerships with the districts, students, and families, these items can be given right at their schools or at the Family and Youth Resource Center with the district. This ensures that students and families don't have to travel long distances to get their needs met. I'm gonna let Brenda start on this one.
So yes, thanks Deanna. I have the privilege of working with children, family and youth in our school district that qualify under McKinney-Vento as due to a loss of housing or housing instability. Currently, North Thurston Public Schools has 1,100 students who are McKinney-Vento eligible. Of those, 152 of those kids are unaccompanied high school kids. So those are kids that are navigating without the support of a parent or a legal guardian. This year, I'm really proud to share that we have 67 McKinney-Vento eligible graduating seniors. That's an awesome achievement for those kids. Last year, 2024, North Thurston Public Schools McKinney-Vento graduation rate actually was nearly 10% more than what the state unhoused rate is. And that just speaks volumes for the power of support and community investment. Supports that we provide through our school district are things that most of us take for granted. So being able to have a birth certificate for a student, being able to get a Washington State ID, a permit, or driver's license, school supplies to be successful in school, clothing, shoes, those types of things. Also athletic gear to be able to participate fully in after-school activities. We also assist families with rental and utility assistance so that they don't become homeless or qualify under McKinney-Vento, as well as providing some of those essential graduation items like caps and gowns and scholarship support for students. None of that would be possible without the generous and ongoing support of the North Thurston Education Foundation. The foundation is a key partner of ours, ensuring that students that are experiencing housing instability have access to the essential resources and supports that they need to stay in school, to overcome barriers, and to reach that graduation. Your investment in the foundation is truly an investment in our students, their future, their dignity, and their success. So thank you for considering the foundation and for being a vital part of support for our youth.
Thank you.
So, not working. So, as you can see,
If I click on it, you should be.
perfect. As you can see, we meet students and families where they're at. McKinney-Vento is an unfunded mandate for some of the support needs, and so we supply those funds that staff give families the supports that they need. The real strength of our program is that we use the existing relationships with students or we strengthen the relationships for staff, for the students they serve. They can get a credit card with the district. We give those funds directly to the district so they can quickly and quietly get those individual resources with minimalizing shame or stigma. Research shows that students experiencing homelessness are much more likely to become homeless as adults. Breaking the cycle of homelessness through education and individualized supports is crucial to our students' futures. Our programs are designed with students and families' input. We support them from both preventing and exiting families from homelessness. And I don't know if you can get that to move.
Hit the middle button, hit the middle button.
I did.
It should work.
There it goes, woohoo! So, see if we can get it to go again, but no. So some of the things we're proud of is that last year we served over 9,000 students in their school directly with basic needs items. And 111 students kept housing or were supported into housing last year. Our program this year was hugely supported by the city of Lacey. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So how many of those students are living in the Lacey's?
All of them.
I'm sorry, no, those
It's fine,
Yeah.
which is helpful for us to narrow that down.
Yeah,
It's our main mission and
Yeah.
all we do.
you're good.
We're actually planning on spending 361,000 on student needs next year.
So you actually put 50,000.
Yes, to help support us in that mission of getting those basic needs and expand our rental assistance program.
What did Lacey provide you with last year?
31,000. And it made a huge difference because last year we ran out of funds by this point. A lot of organizations do by about March. We still have funds for our rental assistance program.
Thank you.
Angelina?
Yeah, I thank you so much for this presentation. I was curious to your point as housing continues to become more unstable, as what how are you hoping or strategizing to continue to scale for increasing need?
Yes, that is the hard part about a nonprofit where the only staff we have is me. So our expenses are pretty low. So we are continuing to outreach for more grants and working with partners like businesses and community groups that also bring in donations of items. So we are constantly looking at new ways to fund more opportunities. Our funds for rental assistance tend to be the first rental pledge that they get. So we work with other organizations, but we also, for a lot of organizations, can see that yes, they have a family in Lacey from our first pledge letter. So that's one of the key parts we play in that community effort in getting our students housed or keeping them in a house.
Thanks. So last year, I know there was, I believe, a coat drive.
Yes.
And I was curious with the final number of warm coats for our students.
We collected over 1,300 coats. So
That's amazing.
coats is one of the things that we tend to buy. We want them to be warm and we do get some donated, but to have enough, we've always had to purchase. The outreach that we got from businesses that collected those last year was overwhelming. We had more than enough coats for our students. It was awesome.
Great. I'm familiar with the organization, so if anybody else doesn't have any other questions, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have senior services for South Sound, Rebecca Hutchinson. Is she
I believe she's on Zoom.
Zoom? Okay, that was.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Great. And I did provide Michelle with a PowerPoint, but I also have it on my screen if I can share that.
I have it up.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Michelle.
Pop it into the full screen here.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. So hi, my name is Rebecca Hutchinson. I'm here to discuss the Home Share program on behalf of Senior Services for South Sound. Thanks so much for having me here today. I want to give you kind of a brief definition of what Home Share is. And can I change these slides?
I can, yeah, we can.
Oh, you do the next slide for me. So home share is a living arrangement where home providers offer accommodation to home seekers in exchange for an agreed upon level of support. So that support can look different from provider to provider. So one provider might be really struggling with making ends meet financially, and so they're really needing a rental contribution each month. So they're offering up a room in their home to rent, while another provider might be doing okay financially, but really struggling functionally with household tasks in order to maintain their home. And so those providers are often asking for some service exchange tasks in exchange for that room to rent. And so those service exchange tasks are often things like housework, meal prep, transportation, sometimes just companionship. And those providers will often reduce or eliminate rent in exchange for those services. I want to talk also about how affordable this program is. It's really one of the most affordable options in Thurston County. So the average Social Security check in 2024 was just under $1,800 a month. But we work with seniors every day that actually are living solely on Social Security, and it's closer to $900 to $1,000 a month. At the same time, the very most subsidized senior housing in Thurston County is just over $1,000 a month, and the average overall monthly rent in Thurston County last year was just under $1,600. So if you're someone living off of $900 to $1,000 a month on Social Security, clearly that's very unaffordable and unattainable. However, home share rent this year is at $641 per month, and we've had hundreds of service hours exchanged. So it's a really innovative way to address housing for the seniors in our community. And it's also a very cost-effective program. So because our costs are really just program operations, we're able to address this housing crisis in a much more affordable way than, say, a capital project would. Our program is basically, the heart of it is matchmaking, right? So we're spending a lot of time really getting to know people and hoping that we can connect people that are going to have a very compatible living arrangement with some longevity. Typically, a seeker is someone who is at risk of homelessness or in a less than ideal living arrangement, often staying with friends, family, sometimes living out of vehicles. And providers are folks who typically own their own home, but we have successfully paired providers with seekers who also rent. You do need to be a Thurston County resident to be eligible for our services, and you must be 18 or older. That being said, we are a senior-focused organization, so anybody that applies to our program that is under 62 understands that they will be matched with someone who is 62 or above. We vet all of our clients the same. So any applicant to our program is going to have a Washington State Patrol background check, unless they've lived outside of the state of Washington within the last 7 years, in which case we do a more broad national background check. And we ask for 3 personal references as well. We do start processing applications upon submission, and then we start that interview process. So we spend lots and lots of time getting to know our clients so that we know their preferences and lifestyle and personality, and that we can match them with someone that is really going to be compatible with them in a living arrangement. We also do follow up with all of our matched clients. Within a period of 190 days, we'll follow up with them for 3 times. We are trained in mediation through the Dispute Resolution Center, so we can help resolve any conflict that might arise in that matched pair and hopefully keep that together. So thank you so much. I'm definitely open for questions.
Selections from the commission.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Garden Raised Bounty, Savannah Graybuck. Is on Zoom too? Yes. There she is.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Again,
Okay, sorry, it kind of like took me out of the meeting while it was making me a panelist.
Yeah, we got you. You're on.
Yes, I'm on.
So
Okay, do I just
whenever
get
you're ready to start, we'll go ahead and start the timer. So you have the floor.
perfect? Okay. First of all, hello. Thank you guys for taking the time to like meet with us all and give me some time to share about all of the awesome work that I get to do with Grub. My name is Savannah Dressback. I am the garden manager at Grub. Here at Grub, our mission is healthy food, healthy people, and healthy community. We have a number of different programs that all in their own ways work towards food sovereignty, access to fresh, healthy food. We really prioritize community building and having a place for everybody to be. As I said, I oversee the Grub Garden Project, which means I have the pleasure of overseeing a program where we build free backyard gardens for low-income folks. We prioritize more marginalized communities, so that's going to be the queer community, that's going to be BIPOC communities. We prioritize veterans, folks with families, lots of kids, to try to really support a lot of folks. With the funds from City of Lacey, that helps us to be able to extend our reach and support folks in Lacey with free backyard food gardens. For all of our garden recipients, we do also want to support them beyond just, hey, here's a garden, good luck, best of luck to you. We have folks who have such a variety of gardening experience, from I've never grown a plant in my whole life to I've been a master gardener for 50 years. So we really want to support folks in having a successful garden and enjoying the literal fruits of their labors. So we also provide things like free seeds from our free community seed shed at the farm, where anybody at any time can come up and grab seeds. It's never locked up. We try to keep it stocked up. But we also like to provide a variety of plant starts for folks too, to really get folks started. This year we were able to have an intern from Evergreen College, and two of them actually, and one of them spent all summer in our greenhouse growing over several hundred plants, over 30 different varieties for folks to choose from. So folks can come to the farm and they can go shopping in the greenhouse. They're all free. There's no charge. But that way people have that true autonomy over choice of food, what they want to grow, right? So we also take our plant starts on the garden build. So when we all show up, we have this beautiful array of plants for folks to choose from. And then right then and there, it's like, oh yeah, cool. It's like happening, So we had things like tomatoes, pumpkins, snap peas, leafy greens, spicy peppers, not spicy peppers, artichokes, cucumbers, herbs, flowers, etc. We had so much. So when we were able to build 5 gardens in Lacey this year in 2025. Just yesterday, we did our last garden build. We built 35 gardens total, and yesterday was the final one. So these gardens are in folks' backyards, and they're gonna serve, like at the very minimum, 15 people. That's how many people live in those households. But I don't know about you, but I've never met a gardener who didn't have zucchini to give away. So much zucchini. So there's those 15 minimum people, but really the reach is so far beyond that. I like to say that the garden building is a front for what we're really doing, which is building community. Because a garden bed, it's this really beautiful opportunity to get outside and get your hands in the dirt and all of the amazing things that come with that. As well as, build that community around it. Maybe the neighbor kid. I have stories of the neighbor boy who, somebody gave him a little corner in their plot and he was able to enjoy things. And sharing with your neighbors. I know that I've gotten to know so many of my neighbors through my own gardening. So we also like to provide folks with free gardening workshops on a monthly basis that pertain to things that you would be seeing in your backyard garden. And we also have 30 seconds. Yeah, we also do a lot of knowledge sharing around like native plants and the lands around us. There's so much that's right around us that we don't know about until we know about it. So we like to work a lot of that kind of stuff into our workshops as well.
Well, thank you, Savannah. Angelina has a question for you.
All right.
Savannah, thank you so much. Your joy was really coming through in that presentation. I'm curious, for the folks that you build that you empower with these gardens, what does the follow-up look like? Is it self-directed by them? Do you all do any sort of like see if next season they're continuing the work of the garden? And yeah, sort of what's the longevity of those relationships?
Yeah, so we do. We are available throughout the year for gardening questions and things like that when folks need to reach out to us. But we also do make attempts on our ends to stay in touch with people. One big thing that we do is we like to do fall site visits. So not every gardener is interested in doing that, but every single time I go in a garden build, I say, oh my gosh, we'd love to come back and see your garden in the fall, whether everything grew or nothing. Like, we want to know how it went, how can we support you better, and get kind of like end of year evaluations. We do also try to stay connected with people beyond that. So kind of trying to keep them in, the Grub community. Like, we have our workshop still. A lot of folks still, even gardeners from years gone by, will sometimes stop by just to say hi, which is really delightful. But yeah, the main big one we do is towards that end of the year, because we really want that feedback for how'd it go, what can we learn from it?
Hi, thank you so much, Savannah, for your presentation. So I just had a couple quick questions. So in the packet you provided us, it said that you were going to build 6 gardens in the city of Lacey, but did you say 5 were built?
Yeah. I think we were slated for 7 actually, but we kind of through the process of getting people scheduled and things, people have life changes that don't allow them. Like someone, for example, was planning on moving and was going to have a space for it, but then had different financial priorities and wasn't able to. So yeah, unfortunately, sometimes people do drop out through the process.
Yeah, and but so the request now would actually almost triple it to, I think it was 15 gardens.
Yep.
Did I say 15?
15, yeah.
Up to 15 for the city of Lacey. And also thank you for our free seed shed at Timberland Library as well. I was waiting for you to mention that. Should have mentioned that. So thank you.
Oh, yeah, additionally on that, and I don't want to put you on the spot if you don't know, but it does make mention in the application of a potential community garden in Lacey. Do you know or have any other further information on that?
I don't have any specifics on it, but yeah, we get approached often with folks who are interested in community gardens, and we get a number of folks from Lacey who are interested in that. So I don't know that I have any specifics beyond that, but yeah, that we do community garden work. We just built one in Olympia this past month. So that definitely is something that we do.
I was on the work group for the Parks Foundation, so we did the tours, and we do have some spaces, community spaces
Potential space.
in Lacey for those.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I that's why I was like, she may not know where they're at in there. Okay, well, great.
Yeah.
If there's any other questions? Nope. Thank you, Savannah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, All Kids Win FKA Homeless Backpacks, Matthew Kiffman and Kelly Wilson.
Cliffman. Sorry, it's Cliffman.
Okay, yeah, Matthew Cliffman, thanks.
I have the advantage or disadvantage if I know most of these people in this room for all my nonprofit work for the past 15 years. So.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak, and thank you for the service and all the work of everybody in the room on this list. It's an amazing community and we're proud to be a part of it. My name is Matthew Clifton. I'm a volunteer and co-chair with All Kids Win.
I'm Kelly Wilson and I'm the founder of All Kids Win and co-chair.
All Kids Win, it's just the middle button you said, right? Okay.
Yes.
So we're the weekend food program to all the schools throughout Thurston County. North Thurston Public Schools, specifically, we're between 160 to 180 bags a week, serving students just in North Thurston Public Schools. And we're on pace to deliver just under 5,800 bags to North Thurston Public Schools this year at a cost to the organization of about $58,000. And again, that's just North Thurston, that we cover all the schools in Thurston County. Covers our program. This is one of the quotes or stories from one of our scholarship recipients, because we also do a scholarship program every year. And how many did we give out this year? 21 scholarships to students all around Thurston County. And the majority were North Thurston Public Schools this year were the recipients of that scholarship program. Our vision is hunger never gets in the way of a student's success. As you're a student struggling with home insecurity or food insecurity, you're getting that breakfast and that lunch at school. Currently, the gap is the weekend. And if you're hungry over the weekend, what are you going to spend your time doing? This bag that they go home with, or to the car with, or to the couch that they're sleeping on, allows them several meals to get through the weekend so they can get back to school and get that breakfast and lunch nutrition, allowing them to focus on their education and get to graduation. We are a 501c3. We're established in 2006, and we're still all volunteer, 100%. And did some research on that. For an all volunteer 501c3, the average lifespan is about 3 to 5 years, and we are going into our 20th year. Kelly's vision growing year over year and supporting Thurston County students. This is our by the number sheet that you have in front of you, and it talks about the number of delivery drivers, what school districts are receiving what percentage of our program, what our current operating budget is, how many schools we're serving, and what we're expected to hit by the end of the 2024-2025 school year. At a cost of $10,000 a bag, it's pretty easy to do the math, or excuse me, $10.02.
It feels like.
It's pretty easy to do the math with us delivering, close to 1,000 bags a week of how much money is going out the door every single week. All Kids Win successes. The community that supports us is a lot of the partners in this room that we work with, the business community, and also we have an ever-growing grant program of us soliciting other additional revenue streams in this current economic environment where we're seeing some pullback, some donor fatigue, and also some resources that aren't available to us that were available in years past due to current legislative environments that we're all experiencing. Trying to get it to move. Oops.
Go back.
This is a list of the food items that are in the bag. It's very specific in regards to the feedback and the nutrition needs of our students. We're doing a little bit of tweaks this year with some feedback that we've received from the educators and the liaisons in the school and also the students to make sure that they got the nutritional needs and being specific to what's in the bag that they're actually going to eat versus what they're not eating that's going to waste. These bag numbers are representative of actual students. These aren't arbitrary numbers that we're delivering to the community. These numbers are being called in by the schools, by the liaisons in the schools or the counselors, specific numbers each week of students that they're dealing with that need to get resources to. And we've been told over and over and over, these food bags are an additional trust tool for that administrator at the school to get additional resources like the North Thurston Education Foundation and the other things available just because they're coming for the food. How people can help, all kinds of different ways to volunteer, join the All Kids Win Club, and we have multiple fundraisers throughout the year. And for everybody in the room, follow us on Facebook, like us, comment, share. That helps us reach more people throughout our community. That speaks to the scholarship program and the picture from this year. that was just held last week. And then that speaks to sponsoring the bags. I think it's over 96% of every dollar raised goes directly into the food bag and that are reaching each of the schools throughout Thurston County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from anybody?
I don't have questions, but I have helped deliver the bags to the schools
Thank you.
anytime, so it is very impactful.
You said there was $58,000 that went specifically to North Thurston Public Schools. So and those were all in bags, I assume.
Absolutely.
Well, also over breaks, like spring break and winter break, we give each student a grocery store gift card for $10 to get them through that week that we aren't touching them.
Such a great.
We also this week delivered graduation cards with money to the graduating students, the seniors. And our scholarship program isn't included in those dollars that's rolling in North Thurston Public Schools.
And can I just say something about North Thurston Education Foundation? We work with education foundations in all the municipalities. And North Thurston Education Foundation is the strongest, doing the most, making the most difference with the kids. So I just wanted to say that.
Shout out North Thurston Education Foundation, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard you say weekend, so that's only during the school year, not just summer break or anything like that.
We partner with Together to take care of the Tumwater School District, to distribute those to those families in need as well.
Yeah, each school district, we reach out to each school district in the spring to find out what their plan is for summer. And if they don't have an alternate plan for getting food to kids over the summer, which the North Thurston School District does. So they don't need us over the summer and we get a little break.
El-Haj.
I also wanted to comment that I think it's cool that recognize some of my friends that received the Follow Your Dream scholarship. So
awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Also, I've seen like firsthand like students at my own school like benefiting from you guys. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I also remember volunteering with you a couple months ago with
At the
Lauren.
bag parties,
Yeah. So
thank you very much
Thank you.
for showing up for us.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Matthew.
In person.
All right, we have the Strophe Foundation with Megan Buchanan and Rhonda Rosenbach.
James, you ready?
I'm Megan Buchanan. I'm the president of the Strophe Foundation here with Rhonda Rosenbach with Olympia Sober Housing. And so we, with the Strophe Foundation, we support the participants of the therapeutic courts of Thurston County. So that would be the DUI drug court, family recovery court, mental health court, veterans court, and Safe Babies Court, which recently changed their name to Thrive. So the Strophe Foundation covers the we do supplemental funding, so things that the treatment sales tax doesn't cover. We come in and try to bridge that barrier, so that the participants have what they need, to be successful throughout the program. One of the things that we do, is we provide housing. I'm trying to expedite our presentation to make sure that we fit everything in. About a year and a half ago, we partnered with Olympia Sober Housing to start the Gratitude and Grace House. As I'm sure everybody knows, housing is a huge issue in Thurston County. And in order for our participants to be successful, they have to have clean and sober housing and it has to be stable. So we partnered with Rhonda and Olympia Sober Housing and we started the Gratitude and Grace House. And I'll pass it off to her to let her explain that.
So I'm Rhonda Rosenbach and I've been on the board of the Sterling Foundation for a combined 8 years, right, as secretary. And Olympia Sober Housing has been providing housing for over 10 years in the 5 years in this area. We have 6 homes and we provide housing to 40 residents right now. The Gratitude and Grace House is one of only 2 homes in the Lacey area that provides housing for women with children. There's a huge need. I think it's one of the biggest needs that there is for housing because it's so hard for a single mom with a child to find affordable housing or clean and sober housing. So like I say, right now, Olympia Sober Housing provides housing for 40 people. We, over the past year, have provided housing for 60 to 70 residents, and over the 10 years that we've been providing housing, we've housed over 670 individuals. Right now, the therapeutic courts, which the Trophy Foundation supports the therapeutic courts, we provide housing for 12 of the participants in the therapeutic court system. The DUI drug court has 70 participants. The mental health veteran court has 16 participants, and the family recovery court has 6 participants with 12 children. The Gratitude and Grace House provides housing to those individuals that they have to be in the therapeutic court program to qualify to live in that house. That the Trophy Foundation financially supports that house. And we can't thank the Trophy Foundation enough to provide that funding for those women with those children. Without that, there's a potential that they could be homeless. So our goal is to keep housing and grow that housing and hopefully get a bigger house or another house so that we would be able to provide housing for more women with children in Thurston County. We also do financial classes and life skills classes for all the participants in the housing. So the women that are in the Gratitude and Grace House last year went through a 8-week program. It was a finance class that it went from the very basics, like how to read a paycheck, what insurance is, how to get insurance. We also provide the network and connections for individuals, like this would be the best credit union, for example, that works with individuals, gives them second chances, because individuals in the DUI drug court or their therapeutic court program have felonies and backgrounds and histories that don't always allow them to have a bank account, for instance. And we also provide life skills classes to the residents. We house homeless, incarcerated individuals coming out of treatment, and individuals coming maybe from another clean and sober house that needs to move into Thurston County because of they could be on probation and they're required to be in Thurston County. Well, we kind of covered it all. I've got the slides. So really what we're asking for would be to continue the providing housing for women with children.
Yeah. How are you guys open to questions now, or?
Absolutely.
How are you tracking those residents from Lacey that are needing the services from Strophy specifically?
How are we tracking?
Yeah, like how are you knowing that they come from Lacey, they lived here, they're a resident of Lacey?
I think what this is for the Grace and Gratitude Sober House, which is in Lacey, correct? Is that?
Because it just says Olympia on here.
Oh, yeah, the name
Yeah.
Olympia, that's the Olympia Sober House is the name of.
That's the name of her.
Yeah, the Gratitude and Grace House is in
Is in
your
Lacey.
red square that's on Mullen Road, in your map when you first started.
Mhm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any questions. Like I said earlier, I'm familiar with most of the nonprofits in this room and I've worked with a lot of them. And actually, Rhonda, I talked to you quite a few months ago. So thank you for the work you're all doing.
Yeah, thank you.
It's very tough work. So.
Oh, I don't see any questions from Nancy here.
Oh,
Angelina's in.
No, wait.
Yep, as always, good presentation. Thank you for sharing with us. I heard you say that your hope for grant funding is to continue to provide and hopefully expand without if you do not receive this grant funding, would the Grace and Gratitude House be in any danger of not necessarily expanding, but would there be shrinkage? Like would there be what would the repercussions be?
So there would not be, we have two fundraisers that we do each year. We have a golf tournament, and we also have an auction gala fundraiser that provides funding specifically for the Gratitude and Grace House. So no one is in danger of losing their housing.
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it.
So when is your golf tournament?
August 8th.
Yeah. It's actually the last slide.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, before we move on to the next presentation, we are gonna just take a brief intermission, break, bathroom, drink of water. And we'll probably do 5 minutes, if that works. Thank you.
All right.
And it looks like Carrie Blackburn, thank you.
Hello, have to share the screen so the folks on the web can see it. Big for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. My name is Carrie Blackburn. I'm the housing program lead at Community Action Council. Our main office is here, right here in Lacey. So I just want to start by saying this is a wonderful group of applicants that you have here. Our own agency partners with many of these organizations. Megan and Rhonda from Strophe were just out to our office yesterday, partnering with our staff, and I email with Carrie Graff probably weekly. They're amazing. So Community Action Council was a grant recipient last year. So part of what I'm going to talk about is what we have already done with some of the money. So an overview of our housing program, we focus on prevention of homelessness and stabilization. Our current housing program staff has about 72 years of combined experience. That's over about 10 staff between all 3 counties that we serve. We have, again, our main office is in Lacey. There are a lot of households that are in Thurston County that don't qualify for other homeless services because they don't fall into that HUD category 1 through 4, right? And so that's where we step in. If someone is behind in rent, if someone is at risk of eviction, or if someone just needs help moving into a new, more affordable home, that's where we step in and they can access our services and get access to funding to help offset some of those costs. Is it stuck? It is. Try again. Thank you. Our housing, this application covers the 3 points of the, as required by the application. Obviously, we focus on housing. We are the housing program. We have dedicated case management staff who provide emergency rental assistance and eviction prevention and move-in support. For survival, we have food, water, hygiene items. When clients move into their home, we provide kitchen supplies, dishes, toiletries, cleaning supplies, the basics that you need when you move into a new home. And our staff is also trained in DV advocacy. So we do a lot of safety planning with clients. And then we also have referrals and partnerships with Pac Mountain for job training programs. And a lot of our senior residents are eligible for caregiving hours. So we help connect them with caregiving services as well. There we go. These are some stats of what we have done so far with the grant that we received last year. We received about 31,000 last year. As of May 4th or May 1st, we had 46 Lacey households served with active, meaningful case management. That's households, not individuals. We have 11 Lacey households that have served directly with financial assistance. That's move-in costs and that's eviction prevention. And then 10 households have been served through our drop-in hours. These are families that just come in needing services into our office off Willamette. And then, oops, I went backwards. There we go. And then 15 Lacey households have been served through outreach events through the North Thurston School District, through events that are downtown or in other parts of the county, but they are still Lacey residents. One of the success stories that I wanted to share with you is a Lacey resident that became homeless roughly 2 years ago. The only shelter that this client could access was Salvation Army. So we partnered with Salvation Army and that client wanted to move back to Lacey. And so that client was at the Salvation Army for 18 months without being served with any housing voucher or any significant financial assistance. So we were able to partner with both Housing Authority, Salvation Army staff, get that person a housing voucher, and they moved to an apartment complex in Lacey. So it was one of those situations where just because a client may move around from district to district doesn't mean they don't still want to live where they're from. And this is what we'd hope to do next year if we get a renewal of the grant. This is scalable, of course.
So we're asking for the 50,000, completely understandable. You have a lot of really great organizations that you're trying to fund here. So if we can't meet these numbers, that's okay. Every dollar that is donated or comes through the grant will be directly given to a family in need or a household in need in Lacey. We're hoping to serve 60 families a year through active case management. We're hoping that we can serve 30 Lacey households through drop-in services, meaning clients just come into our office, and 30 households during outreach services at the various partnerships and outreach events that we do. 9 seconds left. Any questions? Good job.
Thanks for sharing that story with us. That's just goes to show you how impactful something like this can be in our community. Other comments? No.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, next up, we have Homes First, and we will have Yvette will be recusing herself because she's on the board for Homes First, so. And then she will be returning afterwards, so we're gonna shoot her a text message.
I can see when Trudy walks away.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have Trudy up here, so.
All right. Well, while you're getting my slideshow up, I'll just start talking a little bit. I also, it's like, what an amazing group of people here. And it's so funny, you know, Stroke Foundation and Olympia Sober Housing, we also work with them, right? So we're all intertwined. We work with CYS, you know, we work with all these groups, the senior services, everybody. So it's, yeah, it's very inspirational to sit here and listen to you all speak because we're all doing good work. So Homes First, we have been working with the city of Lacey for many years. And in fact, we partnered, the city of Lacey applied for a grant from the Housing Trust Fund. And we purchased a home using that funding that we partnered with the Olympia Clean and Sober to put 7 men in a Clean and Sober program in a home in Lacey, because the city of Lacey did all the work. Honestly, it was great. So it's super, super helpful. So let me see if it's gonna work. Oh, whoop, no, I've gone too far. How do I do that
This is
backwards?
the back button. There should be below the main button, there should be a back.
Yeah.
And there we go. I think that's where I want
That's
to be,
it.
right?
That's the first
Okay,
one,
so
yeah.
we are asking for $50,000. It looks like that's a sweet spot, right? We're all, you know, trying to be scalable. We are an organization that's been around for 35 years. We currently have 180 housing units, which 39 of them are in the city of Lacey. We actually really like working with the city of Lacey. I was just telling Michelle that one of our favorite spots is the Meadows. We've got several homes in the Meadows. Cute little houses, 3 bedrooms, single level. They're really good for families, and they're also really good for seniors because they're easy to get around in. Nope.
Try again.
Okay, got it. So what we're running into right now, though, is the complications of working with public funds. So we cannot buy more houses without public funds investments. And those funds keep getting more and more complicated. Both the application for the funds and then the use of the funds and then being in compliance. So we're hitting a tipping point right now where if we cannot get a qualified employee who can manage all of that, we're gonna have to just stop taking public funds for a while. We're gonna have to take a break and stop buying houses at the rate that we've been buying them. We can probably buy a house a year. You know, we've been buying 3 to 5 houses a year, but it's becoming super complicated. And the funds that we get, the public funds we get, are only for the purchase. They're not for the people. So my organization has to fundraise to supplement hiring people because our operational costs keep going up and our rent stays the same. So you can imagine when you've got operational costs going up by 10% a year and your income doesn't go up, it starts becoming unsustainable. So in order for us to keep buying houses, we need to have someone to help us fix that single point of failure. It's delaying our project timelines, not having someone It's limiting our capacity to pursue more development opportunities. It's increasing compliance requirements is making us crazy. We did 2 accessory dwelling units. We hardly ever actually build properties. We usually purchase and rehab, but we did 2 accessory dwelling units in the city of Lacey last year. They're great. We own the property. We put an accessory dwelling unit on the back for an adult with developmental disabilities. We still have not closed out that contract. The people moved in November of last year, but the compliance is, anybody who works in housing, you know, it just makes you crazy. And we don't have the staff right now who has that kind of knowledge and capacity to be really good at it, so we can move it quickly. And so we admit it's a point of failure. So we serve about 300 community members every year, 50% or less of area median income. But the reality is 80% of our tenants are at 30% or less of area median income. So that means the rent we bring in to cover our costs is down here, right? Because that's where our tenants are. Their income is not high enough to be able to pay high rent. So we're looking for a dedicated project and compliance manager. We're not asking for the city of Lacey to pay for all of that. We're asking actually for like 44%. And we're going out to other funding sources and earned income to make that happen, and fundraising, because we're a nonprofit. So what we're hoping for is we get a new person, we can increase our development again. So we can purchase more houses using public funds. We have reduced timelines. We can do it faster. Purchase and rehab is faster anyway. It can take 3 to 5 years to build. It can take 3 to 4 months to buy and get someone at a home. Enhanced compliance will be better at managing our regulatory requirements, and it'll be more community stability. So like I said, the total project cost is $112,000. That's what it costs to hire a person with qualifications, right? Including all their benefits and equipment and admin costs, right? And so we're asking for $50,000 from the city of Lacey to help supplement that so we can move quickly forward to hire a person and buy more houses. Thank you.
Thank you. I think last year, most of the request of those funds was for those ADUs.
Yes.
And so now,
Say that
I believe it was for the ADU units that you guys.
Well, so that was 2 years ago.
Okay.
We helped fund part of the ADUs. That was a well over $1 million.
Yeah.
It was about $1.5 million. And it shouldn't have been that expensive, but
Everything's going up.
everything's going up, and using public funds is very expensive. But we can't do it without public funds.
Right.
Last year, you helped us do some critical repairs
That's
on
right.
3 of our properties in Lacey, and that was about $35,000.
Yeah, well, it was really, but this is good to know that there's some other needs here. For Homes First. And that some of the pain points for you guys right now.
Yeah, and I know other people are feeling those pain points too, but yeah, that's the thing that's holding us back right now.
Nancy, and Angelina.
Thank you so much for this presentation. I'm curious, the total salary package that you just outlined, number one, do you think it's enough to hire someone into the position you're looking for and to find the right match and qualifications that you're hoping for? And 2, how do you what is your long-term intention in order to continue funding that position? Because I imagine you're hiring with the hope of longevity.
Right. Well, so I went out and spoke to a few of our private market property managers, private market construction folks, and said, here's what I need. How much is it gonna cost me, right? And that was the number that, some said a little bit more, some said a little bit less, but the average was like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay at least $84,000 a year in order to get someone that has that kind of skill level. And then this is a pretty typical, I think, for nonprofits. You always have this kind of stair step where I need a new person, but I need more money. And I can't get more money without the new person, right? So it's this catch-22. So it is our intention that partially we get them started for a year, and then we have a year to ramp up to adding more houses, which brings in more income, which, and then also looking for other contributors to that. Because there are other local foundations who can help us, but it's our hope that that first year gets us launched enough that we can then increase our income enough to cover it long-term.
Awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that.
So I heard you say 84,000 salary,
Mhm.
that doesn't include any benefit packages and.
Right, and that's where it comes up to the 112. So once you put in benefits, time off,
Yes,
you know, all of those things that you have to pay for, you want to pay for, because
yes.
we have a great medical plan, right? Because our employees deserve to have good health care like everybody else. Yeah.
Sorry, real quick, I know this is probably like the job description.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be fully laid out, but what is the main thing that this person is?
Managing contracts
Okay,
and managing compliance. So, you know, helping us determine what should these contracts look like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done a housing trust fund contract, but you know, there's like 40 tabs in an Excel workbook and you have to put in all these numbers and you have to have like a timeline and then that's what they're gonna make you stick to with compliance. And it's super, super complicated. Not like the City of Olympia application, which is super easy, which we really appreciate.
Yeah.
That we're not having to do 40 tabs in a workbook. Yeah.
great. I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Could I ask a
Oh,
question?
we have one more question, Nancy.
Good catch on the compliance person, because as the dollars become tighter, competition is greater and you want to be able to demonstrate that you've been honorable with what you've been given. So that's I give you kudos for that. I may have missed this in your presentation, but how many homes do you have in the Lacey boundaries?
We have, I think, 19 homes in 19 properties with 39 units. So we have
Okay.
single family, multifamily, shared housing, like a lot of different kinds of housing. So in the, I think it's 17 or 18 properties we have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Interfaith Works and IVAers. Hi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did this as well as I've practiced, 5 minutes.
That's.
Thank you for having us here today and for your interest in Sergio Service Center. It's a program of Interfaith Works Homeless Services. My name's Ivy Ayers. I'm Director of Administration for Interfaith Works, and I'm joined with by Linnea Bayer, who is the Program Coordinator for Sergio's. There we go. Before we go into what Sergio's is, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the memory that's inspired its creation. Sergio was a beloved and frequent guest with the Interfaith Works Shelter for many years. He was a fixture in the community and dear to those who knew him, although like all of us, he was complex. In 2018, during an extremely cold night, he suffered frostbite, which led to a series of amputations, each one failing to heal because he was living on the streets. In 2019, we received word that he had passed while unsheltered. And the grief that we had at his passing is kind of what shaped and inspired the dream that became Sergio's Service Center, really designing it to be a place that would have been a life-saving safety net for him. And I also want to just take a moment to give you a snapshot of homelessness in our community. This is a graph from the 2024 point in time count, which is an annual census of folks living, experiencing homelessness in our community. You can see how things have changed over the years. The 2024 total was 952 individuals, with 334 of those living unsheltered. As a side note, most providers consider that an undercount by about 2 to 3 times. So what makes Sergio's so special? Well, Sergio's is designed with a low barrier, high access model, meaning that we really try to make it as easy as possible for our guests to access resources. Some examples of this are being able to bring your pets with you, not requiring ID to access services, and co-locating multiple resources and providers in one location for people to help maximize the value of each visit. To that end, Sergio's offers a number of really meaningful services. Access to hygiene services, access to clean drinking water, mental health services, ID replacement, services for victims of crime, primary care connection, showers, laundry. And we partner with lots of other community partners to enrich what's available at Sergio's. So we have a roster of other community organizations that come in and participate at Sergio's. You can see here, these are some of our regular partners.
This helps us offer more at Sergio's, but it also increases the cross-provider collaboration for the best benefit of the folks that we serve. And during extreme weather, public health may activate a hazardous weather response. When that happens, Sergio's will either extend hours during heat or smoke and act as a pop-up shelter during extreme cold. We rely on our wonderful staff and the staff of partner agencies to make this happen. And because these can occur at any time, we have a lot of preparation that goes into being able to turn on a dime like that. We have supplies and equipment stored on hand, coordination meetings throughout the year, and we host monthly volunteer trainings so that we have a full roster of trained people that we can ask to support us during these events and at other times too. Though 80 beds is our capacity during an overnight cold weather event, we don't turn anyone away. Our single night record was 107 in this most recent event in January and February. And we've already lapped our last year's numbers, you can see there. There we go. So you can really clearly see the impact that a place like Sergio's has, and we're seeing a growing need for these services. So far this year, Sergio's has served more than 1,000 unique individuals coming through its door across more than 9,000 different visits. The folks that we see are some of the most disconnected from services. And so for 2025, we're projecting a little more than 20,000 visits. And numbers are helpful for understanding the scope of services, but stories really help us understand the depth, right? Our navigators, you can see them there, very photogenic, shared this story with us. They had a guest who was accessing Sergio's hygiene services, who was living in their car for more than 2 years and working at Safeway. The team was able to get to know this guest, understand their situation, get them housing assistance, and get them out of their car and into a safe, warm apartment. It's rare that our navigators aren't able to find some way to assist people. Sometimes it looks like connecting people with adult family homes. Sometimes it's just more basic and immediate needs, like I need my ID replaced, I need help understanding this paperwork, I need somebody to listen to me. And that is what our navigation team does on a daily basis. So with that, there we go. Ta-da! Then I missed it. Questions?
I have a question and I know I should know the answer a bit. I can't because I was at the opening and cutting. Are you guys also involved with Sandy's Flats?
We are, yeah.
Okay.
Run that too. Permanent supportive housing downtown. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great because I feel like a lot of these things that you guys do are just often overlooked in that population. I mean, like getting an ID replaced is so difficult, and now we have like real ID requirements that, you know, how do you do this without an address and these types of things, and like little things like laundries and showers go a long way. So
Even just clean water in bathrooms, you know, it's very hard to find those sorts of things.
yeah, and those are often, I mean, obviously we need housing is a problem, but these things are pivotal too, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I just wanted, this is just like a shout out because in July, July 19th, we have Up in Smoke. It's our annual block barbecue at Sergio's. We have 200, 300 folks from the unhoused community who come by. People are making burgers. There's bubbles. One year there was a dunk tank and they keep asking me for a half pipe, but it's never gonna happen. Face painting, it's a really fun event. So if you're looking for something to do, come on by.
Thank you.
Sorry, was that July 19th?
It is, yeah, and I'll leave this here on the table for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Community Youth Services, Derek Harris.
Hello, Lacey Human Services Commission. Thanks so much for the time to talk about our agency and our program Haven House. My name is Derek Harris. I serve as the CEO for Community Youth Services, also known as CYS. Just briefly, CYS was formed in 1970 to meet the needs of young people in our community who are experiencing a variety of risk factors. And today, 55 years later, the agency has grown into a multi-service organization with over 20 different programs, providing a strong continuum of care with wraparound services. We have a team of close to 200 employees today, and each and every year we serve over 4,000 youth, young adults, and families. I'm here today to ask your support for the Haven House program, which was created in 1984, and it's the longest running and only licensed teen shelter crisis residential center in Thurston County. Haven House provides a safe place for young people to go in their time of need when they don't have a safe place to be. Typically, we see young people who are fleeing abuse and neglect. They've been kicked out of their home, have a placement disruption in a foster home, or do not have an identified home to live in. Referrals come to us through a variety of different ways. Self-referral. Law enforcement can bring a young person to our facility under protective custody. A social worker or CPS worker can bring a youth to our facility. As you've seen today, we have a lot of community partners, and we all work together to try to make sure that young people are safe in our community. We provide 12 beds of emergency shelter for young people ages 12 through 17, and we're available 24/7, 365 days a year with round-the-clock staffing. We have young people come to our facility at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and we have caring, wonderful staff there to respond to their emergency needs when that happens. We meet the basic needs for every young person that comes to our shelter with, food, clothing, shelter. Sometimes youth come into our facility, they just have the clothes on their back. They're fleeing domestic violence. They're fleeing the dangers of the street. You can imagine being a 12 to 17-year-old. Sometimes a young person has created running behaviors as some sort of mechanism to get away from the traumas they're experiencing in their home environment. Or they're a young person who might have been in maybe 10 different foster homes before we've been able to see them in one of our programs. So if you kind of put yourself in that kind of position, you can kind of gauge the kind of crisis situation that young people are in when they come to us, and the type of work that we do to kind of try to help stabilize that crisis situation for them, create a home away from home, create a safety net for them, and then help transition them onto a long-term safe placement. Typically, we're working with young people beyond that emergency needs, and then we also work with them on their own individualized service plan. We know that it's really important for young people to stay engaged in school. So we transport youth to every single school in Thurston County. If for some reason they're an out-of-county youth, we get their assignments so they can stay connected. We know how important and valuable that is for them. We also work with bringing in behavioral health and substance use disorder evaluations. We can do that in-house because we're a licensed behavioral health organization. We do well child exams and dental care for every youth that come into our facility. Some youth have not had those services in a really long time, and so we're able to get them caught up. And then we also have a lot of young people who might be on a lot of medication and they haven't had a psychiatric review in a while. And so we're able to get them connected to that service or get on their meds that they haven't been on in a long time. Really our main goal is to do that safe transition placement to a long-term situation with that young person. And for the most part, that's going to be with family, with a relative placement, with a trusted family friend, a foster home, or some other safe, suitable long-term placement for that young person. We try to make Haven House the home away from home type atmosphere that you would want to have. We have a regular, consistent schedule, so they know what's going to happen one minute to the next. They have 3 meals a day under federal OSBI food regulation standards. Our staff do their best to make the very best meals possible. 2 snacks. We have partnerships with a lot of different recreational type things for young people to do, so that they can also just kind of have like the normal experiences that every young person would want to have. We can serve an average of anywhere from 75 to 150 youth per year. And last year, 1/3 of all participants that were in Haven House were from Lacey school districts. Just some last minute statistics. Over 90% of the participants that are in our facility reunite with family, relatives, trusted adults, or other safe alternatives. We served about 2,000 bed nights of care for young people in our facility last year. For some people, that's 5 days. For some people, that could be 6 months to a year, just kind of depending on different requirements. And then over the course of those last 41 years, we've served over 7,000 participants. And I know a good portion of those were from Lacey. So finally, appreciate your consideration of this grant and your support of this program at CYS.
Can you elaborate a little bit, since the majority of this request is to personnel, like where you guys are, where the shortfalls are coming with the personnel, and like also if you got people staffed 24 hours a day, what does that look like? And finding people that are, that want to work on a graveyard shift and that are also qualified to do that.
Feeling me right now, aren't
you? Yeah.
So First and foremost, it's a licensed facility. So there's licensing requirements about how many staff you have to have as far as ratio. It's a 12-bit facility. The licensing ratio is 1 to 4. So meaning if you have 4 participants in your facility, you have to have 1 staff. It's never good to just have 1 staff in a shelter. So you always have to have at least 2 staff in that shelter. But then you also have to be able to be ready 24/7, 365 days a year to be full, to be up at that 12 number. So we always have to have 3 staff on duty at all times. So just to kind of give you that makeup. We have day, evening, overnight, and weekend schedules. And, you know, we've been pretty successful and pretty lucky in being able to recruit and retain people to be in that program. We have, I'll call it 50% of our staff, like this is their jam. And we've had people up there for 8 to 15 years working in that program. For other people, it's kind of their starter job. And it's the first time maybe they've entered into the social services field. And for some of them, they want to stay in this their jam. For other ones, they want to move into other kind of case management positions or coordinator positions or those kind of things. We also work with a lot of the local colleges to create feeder programs that have internships so that people can kind of test out the work, get their college education, get credit for that, and also find maybe a pathway to become an on-call with us and then become a full-time staff with us later. So, you know, with that, we don't really have much flexibility to have less staff at that facility. And as you know, with the way that the state budget is, which is the primary funder of this program through OHY, Office of Homeless Youth, through Department of Commerce, there was a 2% reduction to all those contracts across the state, across the board. It's just because of the shortfalls that are happening, you know. So part of, I mean, in Haven House, over the course of 84 years, it's had all the funding that it needs. It's had part of the funding that it needs, and we have to do a lot of work to get the funding, but it's been a core element of who CYS is and a foundational program for our organization. And so if we have to roll up our sleeves and you know, raise that money to keep that program open and operating, that's what we're gonna do.
I just want to say I am very familiar with Haven House and but I did not realize that they took students to all the schools. So that's amazing. Thank you. That's a big part of keeping them in feeling somewhat of control of their life at an uncontrollable moment. So
Absolutely. If
that's
you can
cool.
go to school and still do your classes, still meet your friends, you
Yeah.
have some sort of normalcy going on,
Yeah.
even if you don't have a long-term home
Big deal.
situation to be in. And that's so important to us.
Certainly does help to have goal, be goal oriented and have that
It's very important.
accomplishment.
And
It's tangible.
for houseless youth especially.
Okay, all right, thanks, Derek. I don't think anybody else had any questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
appreciate you all.
Thank you.
We have a Zoom.
Nope.
No.
World relief.
Yep, I think we're actually here.
Sorry.
Let's start with the other ones there.
But we're glad to have you here.
I'd like to be here. I think we have enough slides for about a 15-minute presentation.
Yeah.
Just skip through a whole bunch of them, but I'm John Clay. This is Natalie. That's Kate. We are from World Relief Western Washington. World Relief is an organization that works with forcibly displaced peoples worldwide. We're an international organization. Western Washington in particular helps to resettle immigrants and refugees of various kinds. And we work out of 3 different locations. We have a location in Kent, one in Bellingham, and importantly for this conversation, one in Thurston County as well. And Natalie is the manager of our Thurston County location. Kate does external engagement here, so she builds partnerships with all the other different organizations that we partner with. And I lead the external engagement teams for all of Western Washington. So our mission is to boldly engage the world's greatest crises in partnership with the church. We are a faith-based organization, although we serve people of all sorts, of every faith persuasion. We employ people of every religious background. We just happen to have been founded, by a religious organization. But here is our vision: to see every refugee and immigrant, I always say, we meet, welcomed by community, rooted in community, and empowered for community. What we want to do is we want to see people who have arrived here through various pathways. We serve refugees, we serve asylees, we serve asylum seekers, we serve people here on special immigrant visas, we serve people here under humanitarian parole. immigrants and refugees that have followed all of those legitimate pathways here to the United States. And we want to greet them when they arrive, and we want to walk with them until they are thriving, right? So that's our view. And we do that through a variety of programs. And I'm just going to touch on a few of them, and then we'll focus on what we're here to talk about today. But we have a program, a children and family program. So imagine you're an immigrant family and you arrived here and you've got little kids. You don't speak English yet. You're struggling. Both parents are very likely working in labor-oriented jobs, the kind of jobs you can get when you don't speak English, right? And you've got little kids and you're trying to navigate the public school system here. Your children don't have good English skills and are likely met with all sorts of variety of attitudes in their school. Perhaps you know that it's not necessarily popular to be here as an immigrant right now. And you know, we've been saying that if you're a refugee and immigrant, everything just got harder, right? Like if you're here as on a special immigrant visa, do you know whether you're going to be deported next month or not, right? If you're here as a humanitarian parolee, you may have just received a letter. In fact, there was a large group of Afghan humanitarian parolees SIVs who received a letter accidentally by the government, like thousands of them, telling them they were going to be deported in a month if they didn't self-deport. It's a very confusing, difficult environment. Everything just got harder. So children and family helps kids navigate the difficult systems. We help people not only find initial jobs, but we walk with people so that they can get career jobs. You know, like I met a gentleman who was an ophthalmologist in Turkey, right? And he was here and the best job he could get was driving for Uber Eats. Well, somebody needs to walk with him so that he can get to a point where he can get a job where he can apply the skills that he has. Our Immigration Legal Services Department, we have lawyers, paralegals, and specially certified specialists that are in immigration law. And they, like, imagine right now, you don't know what your status is. You're trying to navigate through all of the different statuses to get to a point where you're maybe a citizen eventually, right? So we walk on that. We teach English courses, literacy and digital literacy, financial literacy programs, resiliency services are the kinds of things. We have a community garden, we have a commercial learning kitchen, and we have a sewing class for Afghan women. And then lastly, we do what we call extended case management, which means we walk with people for the long haul. And particularly, we're here to talk today about our housing stabilization program. Our housing stabilization program, many times we've helped people get into initial housing. But if they're working part-time jobs, can't afford it, many people end up facing housing crises along the way. And so what we're asking for is $50,025. I'm not sure how we arrived at that number. That's the number on the grant application, $50,025, just to be different, I guess, to help us with housing stabilization needs. In Lacey in particular, we have resettled 68 refugees here, but our programs are available to refugees and immigrants of all sorts, whether or not they have any prior association with World Relief. And so we are here to serve immigrants and refugees of various statuses in the city of Lacey, including those that we have helped develop. So I was just
I don't think she got to speak, but it was.
Oh, this is Natalie. She's here for questions mostly because she's the one who's on the ground leading our efforts here. So that was the idea, is that she's the one who can answer the more specific kind of
We have
questions
15 minutes, I would
about
ask.
our particular terms, but yeah.
Yeah, Angelina does have a question.
Yeah, I've experienced doing some refugee resettlement work with Lutheran Community Services back in the day, and I recall one of the huge challenges with finding housing for refugees or newly arrived immigrants is often their as you said, because of a language barrier, often an education barrier. how are you all going about building those relationships with the various housing options in the Lacey area in order to so in our experience we found it was a lot of like, we will vouch for this individual, whether that was financial or you know, in some other way to so that the property manager, whoever it might be, would trust and be willing to sort of take the chance on in this experience. So I'm curious what you all are doing in that respect.
Yeah, if you can imagine the criteria to get into housing is you have to have background check, you have to have 3 times above the income to be able to rent, and you have to have work history. And so it took a lot of conversations with apartments when we would say, hey, can a refugee come to live in your apartment? And they'd say, do you have the work history? No. Do you have credit history? No. Do you have all these things? And it would always be no. And so it took a lot of convincing and working with them to give us a try. Once we got the first yes, and in fact, I remember that being in an apartment building trying to get the first yes, I just sat in the apartment for hours and hours and said, it's okay, I'll sit here until I get a yes for this family. So what we've done was we were able to write a letter, not saying that it's on, we are the creditors, but that we do have 3 months to help them for the first 90 days. And then we will assist with other grants that are available through the state to help them to further that down the road. But it's, as you see, we get 90 days. And I don't know if you are following the news, but on January 20th, there was an executive order that paused resettlement. And what that meant is that put a lot of and then a few days later, what happened? Funds were taken. We've got a stop work order. So anything that we had to be able to provide for the rent of these families were taken away. And then this is when we had to do our very best to be able to get funding in other different sources. And John Clay was very pivotal on contacting donors and churches and faith-based organizations. But to your question, it took a lot of time to get them to say yes. And so we do have housing partners right now, and in Lacey and Tumwater and Olympia that we work with. And everybody's in housing right now, but the situations come up where they're not able to pay for rent because they just have part-time work because they're not able to get the full-time job. No one's giving them a chance. And so then that becomes the big need of, and so case management is something we're all wanting to provide also with this grant, to be able to empower, because we believe in empowering our refugees and working alongside with them, because one day they're going to need to be doing these conversations on their own. And so just giving them the tools, empowering them to be able to speak to landlords on behalf of their own selves. That's what we do. We give them the tools.
That's the request for housing stabilization. Because this is something we need to do, is come alongside people when housing does get messy, which it does. When you're in uncertain circumstances. And I should say is it Angelina on the screen?
Angelina.
Yeah, I happen to raise 5 children from Lutheran Community Services, so I've had a similar experience to hers in that regard, so, yeah. Yeah.
Hi, thanks so much for sharing. Actually, I work right above you in your Olympia location. My office is literally above your office.
Oh.
Doing? Come on, why is there mattresses coming in and out and stuff? So I had no idea. Now I know. So thank you yeah, bougie, yeah, it's everywhere.
You need mattresses when you get a house.
No, I was just curious, can you tell me what ICR is? It says 15%. Or did I miss this episode?
No, that's right.
Did I? Okay, sorry. I didn't
It's
know.
listed under other costs.
Yeah, other costs, it says ICR 15%, $6,525.
Well, we know where your $25 is coming from, by the way.
It's part of it, it's part of
Okay,
the.
I was just curious. And then the other thing on, because, you know, 15,500 for personnel. And then you've got 25,000 for the program expenses. On the personnel, is that what you were just talking about, having specific staff to help with the different
Management.
case management?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not asking to add employees, but we're asking for the funding.
For the case
funding of the
management. Okay.
that have to be
Okay.
side.
Thank you.
As a global organization,
Yes.
can you help us just like nail down the hyper localization of your community, of your organization for Lacey specifically? Because we have a lot of organizations here today that, you know, are just from our specific area, so
Sure.
it would be
that's right.
helpful for us to.
Yeah, for specifically for our refugees who have resettled in the Lacey area. And in fact, there's so many organizations that we've heard from that we work with. McKinney Pinto was, she's gone, but yeah, that was an amazing program that helps a lot of our students go into the school there. But specifically, we work in Thurston County with refugees and immigrants. And it's not just the refugees that we have welcomed at the airport, but it's also for any immigrant family that are needing the assistance.
We've had, was it 7 full-time FTE in our Olympia headquarters? We've had to do a remarkable pivot. Recently, as you know, when USAID was dissolved suddenly, you know, I won't even say the number, but the number that it cost our Western Washington operation was, you know, way off the chart with lots and lots of zeros after it. And so we now have, over 1,000 individuals supporting people and organizations that are supporting what we do here. And we are in the process of reconfiguring, because we're not doing official resettlement, but we're reconfiguring our Thurston County office and our Whatcom County office with a different staff lineup that will allow us to have specific coverage for all of those different services we talked about here. So, yeah.
Intensive care resource, I think that's what it was.
Oh,
That's
okay.
like lots of management.
Good job, Ellen. Figure it out, I see now. It has to stand for something, I know.
Here's my business card.
Okay, thank you.
I'll hand down as Natalie's business card.
Thank you so much.
Habitat for Humanity.
Right. Getting towards the end. I know.
I think you were last.
Wait, are you
last
shot? Are you?
No, there's a couple more.
year. No, she was last year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, well, since I'm going last, I did some pivoting and rearranging to not kind of repeat, you know, rebuilding and anyway, so. Well, my name's Amanda Schuyler. I am the Home Repair Program Manager at South Puget Sound Habitat for Humanity. I thank you all for being here tonight and considering us. I also thank you for selecting us to be a recipient of the Human Services Grant last year. We're actively spending that money and getting stuff done. So we appreciate that. And to speak to what Trudy said earlier, I especially love this funding because it doesn't have all the red tape that like CDBG has. And so it just lets us help people a lot faster and with more flexibility. So especially would love some more. So I apologize I don't have slides. I wish I did. I was kind of asked to do this last minute, and we have amazing before and after photos that would have been great to show you. And so maybe
Maybe you
some
can
other
send
time.
those forward to me,
Yeah.
or you can send them to us, that would
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah, because I would love to have some stuff put together. But anyways, South Puget Sound Habitat has been here in Thurston County since 1989. We've built 83 affordable homes in that time. And in 2021, we started our home repair program. Our overarching vision is a world where everyone has a decent place to live. We're well known around the world for building affordable housing, but we're also incredibly passionate about home repair. As we all know, there's housing issues between
rising cost of building, availability of land. And the most affordable way to battle some of those issues is to keep people in their homes where they currently live. Like Rebecca from Senior Services said, an average social security check's about $1,800, which is what she said. I'm like, I have not seen many that high. A lot lower than that for a lot of people. The majority of our applicants are on single income social security. They leaving their house because it's unsafe or because it's uninhabitable or unhealthy to live in is just not an option, because rent would just be more than they can afford on such a limited income. Fixing the issues themselves is not realistic because everything's really expensive and there's very limited income. Or they just don't have the physical capabilities. A lot of these people, either they had, you know, husbands who took care of some of the issues. So now they're like, well, what do? I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that. And then there's long-term damage from just not knowing or not being that person who does it. Long-term damage from they just physically can't do it because they're aging and getting older, and then the cost. So there's so many issues that are causing homes to be unsafe, unlivable, and it is our mission to help make sure that people have a decent place to live, because that's what we do at Habitat. So far with this funding this year, we've helped a veteran who has cancer. He used to be, I believe he used to be a contractor, so very much like the handyman, and now he just physically can't do it. Their water heater was like tucked away in a little cabinet. There was a leak, no one knew it. It was going on for a lot longer than it should have and caused severe floor damage to the subflooring. We had to go in. This is one of the great before and after photos because it's very bad. They couldn't even use their stove. They were like making everything in a microwave because they couldn't use their stove because they had to pull their stove out because it couldn't sit on the soft flooring from the water damage. So we had to take it all out, rebuild the subflooring. It even went into their bathroom. So it was in the kitchen, but also into their bathroom, repair the subflooring, put in new flooring, retrim it, paint the walls, deal with a little bit of mold. So again, a man who for his whole life was able to do stuff like this and now he can't. And so being able to go in there, provide that dignity, like we're pretty cool people and we get to, you know, chat it up and build relationships and rapport, and make them comfortable, because no one wants to feel, hey, I can't do this, but now also I have to like rely on someone else to do it for me. Like that's a very vulnerable place to be. So with our experience and our passion, we just get to do amazing work. We are requesting the 50,000, which I believe is kind of the cap of what was allowed, because we want to continue doing this work here in Lacey. This program is funded by grants, and a majority of our grants are very specific to the jurisdictions where they come from. So if we don't have grants in Lacey, then all of the people who apply for a program in Lacey, we have to say, sorry, we can't help you. Luckily, we do have some additional funding, so not necessarily we can't help you, but very limited on the help that we get to do for the people here in Lacey. And Lacey's population is growing in age. You have a lot of elderly people here, a lot of people who can't afford other options. And it just is really sad to see like some of the living conditions that our neighbors are facing. They're getting older, so. Any questions? I didn't go into a whole lot of detail about rebuilding or repair work and the need, because rebuilding already kind of did that. We are very similar programs. So anyways, it's kind of.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with them personally, especially from last year.
Yes.
It's from Habitat for Humanity, and I think I don't have any further questions if anybody else.
Well, thank you. I didn't know that I did Women Who Build a few weeks ago. But, my dad actually served on the board for Habitat for Humanity for many, many years in another state. But I didn't know that this option was available, and I think that's really important. Because I am a homeowner, bought my house a year ago, and let me tell you, stuff goes wrong, and I'm like, I don't even understand that. Why are there so many baby birds in my attic? I don't know. So I think this is very important. So thank you.
The water will find a way in the
Yeah, the
house.
water. Yeah.
And yeah, it is my passion as the home repair manager to make sure that the community knows we're here, because a lot of people know we build houses, but don't know that this program exists. So I'm very glad to be here.
Thank you.
Let
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thurston County Inclusion, Samantha Espinoza is on Zoom.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much
Hi.
for having us here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And I believe we have some slides, although there's no stats on them, there are some images. I apologize in advance if they uploaded a little bit wonky, but hopefully it gives you a better idea of who we are through some images. But again, I'm Samantha Espinoza, and I am Thurston County Inclusion's Executive Director. Thurston County Inclusion was founded in 2019 with the goal to bring youth ages 5 to 22 years of age. So that's kindergarten through transition following the school district. And our youth are those with intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as those without. We have a two-part programming. We have our year-round events, which look like 2 to 3 events per month, if not more. And those are typically on the weekends while our youth are in school. And then our large or a core part of our programming is our summer camp programming. And that is a free day camp that youth can attend. And it's different themes each week. We separate that through age cohorts. So our elementary school kiddos are with their peers, our middle school youth are with their peers, as well as our older and in transitioning. So that like 18 to 22 years of age. We have a field trip style because we realize that our older kids are less interested in summer camps that have a kiddie feel. So we like to take our youth that are between this 18 to 22 years of age in a field trip where they get to just travel around Thurston County and checking out different places. All of our events are free. And so if we're going to a coffee shop or we're going bowling or we're going anywhere, we pay for all of that so that there are no barriers and there's really no limitations. So we say we're all about the fun, and we really are. We just want youth to show up and have that opportunity. And like I mentioned, each week is a new theme for our youngers that you can click through the pictures. I'm sorry, I won't be able to click, but you can feel free to click through. There's not any specific slides for anything. But our sessions attendance range from 15 to 70 youth at one time. It just depends on the event that we're holding. So for example, if we are out at the YMCA swimming, or we rented out the Hands-On Children's Museum, it could just range again to what the capacity or venue allows. TCI is seeking funding to expand our summer programming with Medicaid and Medicare being cut. We realize that a lot of youth that are neurodivergent have fewer opportunities to engage in recreational opportunities, specifically in summer when academic and competitive opportunities are much limited. So we realize that we really see the need currently to increase this programming. And so there's different opportunities that we'd like to start offering in addition to just our regular programming. For example, STEM related events and life skills such as our cooking classes. And again, just our current summer camp offerings. Our rental costs, our supply costs, everything is increasing, especially with cuts being made. And so again, since we front all of those costs for our youth, we realize that, again, those funds are needed. Our activities are unique because we serve youth with disabilities of all types, ensuring equal access, as well as inviting youth without disabilities to participate. And the opportunity for inclusion to happen outside of an academic setting is so key, as it can foster a sense of belonging and be a place where empathy is practiced and provide an opportunity for our youth to gain valuable social skills. And again, I mentioned those cuts that are happening. We really feel like kids deserve to have an opportunity to engage outside of school. And, we're one of the only programs in the area that cater to youth with disabilities. When their neurotypical peers are out and about having fun or being invited, this population, time and time again, we're seeing that there are just no opportunities. And so allowing them to have chances to make friendships and have meaningful peer support is just key. So, questions?
This is specifically a summer program.
Yes, so we have two-part programming. We have a summer camp programming, which we're requesting funds, as well as our year-round programming. But yes, this would be our summer camp programming, of which more than half, since we do serve all of Thurston County, more than half of them do come from the North Thurston School District.
Angelina.
Yeah, thank you. This was actually more of a point of personal privilege. I'll probably have to recuse myself when we actually get to voting on this. But my son has been benefited from Thurston County inclusion. The summer program, when we did not yet have a diagnosis for my son, finding places where he could be and be fully himself was really challenging. And being able to bring him to both the summer program and some of those monthly events throughout the year made such an impact. And so, yeah, this is it's a really great program.
Thank you, Angelina. I appreciate
Angelina,
that.
personally.
I have several questions,
Yeah.
if I may. Hi, thank you. So I was just wondering, when I was reading through your proposal, you have it as slated for 2026, not 2025? Was that a
Correct.
typo or?
Well, so our summer camp programming is about to begin at the end of this month. And so it would really be, since summer starts June, so this would look like our 2026 summer, since 2025 summer is about to kick off here.
Okay, so it will not, okay. And then, so for the youth, how do they get there? I apologize if I missed it in here.
No, absolutely. So,
patient provided or vouchers or I don't know, something?
So just like any other summer camp in the area, parents drop off, or they have the option to drop off in transportation. For our youth that are older, like I mentioned, that field trip style, we work with Inner City Transit or Dial a Ride to have those additional supports for transportation if needed. We don't specifically offer transportation, but usually, typically, parents drop off, respite providers or caregivers that we work with offer those transportation needs.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to clarify one thing. The program year for this year goes from August 1st, 2025 to July 31st, 2026.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Samantha.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Okay, and another, we have Al Ark, Holly Cornish, and that's on Zoom as well. Is Holly here?
Hello, my name is Holly and I am representing our ARC. I do not see the slideshow.
Working on it.
Second, we'll have that up there, but you can,
You see it now?
Yes, I do.
Good.
okay, great.
So this is our Lacey grant presentation. We are a nonprofit that was funded in February of 2021. Our main goal is to tend to the physical and emotional needs of homeless youth. Is there a way for me to change the slides or should I just let you know?
Just tell me when to forward it and I'll forward it for you.
Okay, awesome. So we offer core services that empower youth through holistic and compassionate approaches. Some of our services are life skills training, rapid rehousing support, rapport building, holistic support approaches, street outreach, and a family-like environment. So our ARC is more like a family than a facility. We use a familial, social, parental approach to model healthy relationships for youth who have previously not experienced them. Our life skills training includes both opportunities for youth to engage in activities that they hadn't before, like cooking, cleaning, job readiness, self-care, and it also allows them to engage in opportunities like getting your GED or applying for jobs. We have 10 youth right now for getting their GED, and 6 are currently employed. We have 2 houses, a girls' house and a boys' house, and we have 2 apartments as well. Our street outreach connects with homeless youth in the community, and we offer immediate support and resources like hygiene packs, food, resources to other programs and shelters, clothes. Our holistic support approach is used with the youth in our program. It addresses the whole person, mentally, emotionally, physically, and it supports long-term transformation. We build rapport with our youth. Like I was saying, we foster healthy relationships that they may have not experienced in the past. Our rapid rehousing support program is the 2 houses and the 2 apartments. It provides safe, stable housing, and it transitions youth from homelessness to independence. Our life skills training, which I touched on a little bit before, also equips youth with essential tools for independence. A lot of these youth, before they got into the program, they didn't have much experience with cooking or building resumes, and we hold life skills training on Sundays to familiarize them with these approaches. You can turn to the next slide now. The time to act is now. So according to the Thurston County point in time count, 23.5% of the homeless population in Thurston County is under 25, and 51% of individuals experiencing chronic homelessness were 24 or younger when they first experienced homelessness. Our program reaches youth from ages 13 to 25, and those are the youth that can that qualify for our services. A lot of other programs will not take youth under 17, so we target the individuals that do not qualify for other programs to give them a chance as well. More young people now than ever are being pushed into survival mode because of economic instability, inflation, and housing shortages. Young people are also at a heightened risk for human trafficking, mental health crisis, and long-term chronic homelessness if not intervened early. And without urgent action now, we risk losing an entire generation of potential leaders, workers, parents, community members, teachers, and more. You could move forward to the next slide. How would the Lacey Grant positively impact our ARC? So the different areas that the budget would run to, we are asking for the $50,000, would be personnel, admin, project costs, which include emergency housing support, basic needs kits, life skills workshops, volunteer and client community outreach. Those are all parts that the grant would apply to. One of the most important parts is the immediate shelter through the emergency hotel stays because it reduces time spent unsheltered for these youth. It would also support our dedicated case management that helps youth navigate housing, employment, and healthcare, and also continue to help us provide life skills training. Thank you so much. I'm here to answer questions.
Thanks, Harley.
Hi, Holly. My name's Yvette, and I just wanted to say I had an opportunity to be at the grand opening of the boys' home. And last year, I believe it was, and very, very empowering. It was very, very, very nice. So
We're,
Thank you so much.
Share some of that with us at when we talk about it further, because I believe they were here last year too, and she did bring some of the people that they were servicing, and there were some good stories, but I know we weren't able to provide them any. Yeah. So, but I don't have any questions, Holly, specifically. Thanks for your time. I don't know does anybody else have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Get in there.
Thanks for hanging in there with us.
I'm thankful for that chance. Yes, didn't know you were done, so. Thank you. I'll wait till my slides get pulled up, but my name is Vanessa Hurst. I'm the program director for Host Homes that is based out of Together here in Thurston County. I have a lot to say, and I'm sure I have to do it for 5 minutes. Someone open. Well, I'll start. So Host Homes is a program model that was started in Minneapolis. It came to Washington State about 5 years ago. The state decided that it would be county specific and it would be a nonprofit in each county that would run it. For Thurston County, that was Together. So we have been operational for 4 years, and I would say functional for about 3, and very successful for this year. We are actually the most robust, functional, and have the most students served of any county in the state of Washington. That includes King County, who has 7 students, which we're very proud of them, but we actually have capped at 27 youth served. That's also the most on the West Coast of any. So.
If you minimize the that.
Oh, it's because is it because it's PDF?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. I designed mine
that.
with Canva, and so it's just, you know. I gotta
I want to view full screen. I'm
was
gonna
me, I'll
share
move
it. Share screen. And then I'm gonna share then I'm gonna go view full screen. There, all right. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Thank you for dealing with the different type. Like I said, so I was giving a little bit of history about Host Homes, and you can go ahead. Oh, I have the clicker.
Go for it.
Okay, perfect. So the Host Homes mission is to provide safe, stable housing and support for unaccompanied youth, empowering them to achieve their full potential by successfully completing high school and engaging in meaningful post-secondary education, trade, and professional programs entering the workforce. The reason that is, and it's been stated by some other programs, is that is one of the #1 protective factors for staying out of homelessness. The other thing I want to highlight is unaccompanied youth. That was addressed in the North Thurston Education Foundation presentation, but unaccompanied youth specifically that we're dealing with are ones that are not under the care of their parent or guardian, but also not under state supervision. This is a gap of students who have historically been ignored by federal programs. It's only been in the last, I think, 6 years that FAFSA have even acknowledged that they don't have to track down their parents to, give this information. They also, since they're not in state supervision, they often don't have access to extended foster care. The people caring for them, because there often are people caring for them, hence our program, don't have access to the funds and the resources that those under state supervision have. So this is an extremely important gap so students don't fall through the cracks. We're building community-driven solutions, so I'll explain more. It's because we are housing youth with community members. Community members, whether known or previously unknown or known to the youth, are opening their homes to young people. That's a big ask. One of the reasons the program is so hard to make successful and keep successful. So we have a youth center support model, school-based integration, which is huge, and we focus on long-term outcomes. So long-term success, not just housing them now, but giving them the skills so that they can be housed long-term. All right, so our initial program goals were in 2022 and 2023, Tumwater School District was actually the first district to partner with us. They're also the only district that actually gives us some money too, although they're not our biggest serve. So it was just to serve 10 students in the Tumwater School District. If you go down a little bit, so I'm gonna kind of rush through these so I can get all that. We're currently serving 27 youth. So when we got our initial funding, we do have some big grants with the state of Washington. They funded us only for 10 students. We have stretched those dollars to serve 27 students, and programmatically we could serve up to 36. That's operationally, not financially. We need money for that. One of the things that has shifted over the past couple years is we really strengthened our case management model to take the burden off of hosts. When you are asking somebody to open their host to a teenager, and I know we have a teenager in the room and you are amazing, but y'all can be difficult sometimes. So imagine your own teenagers that you have raised and now having somebody in your home who's going through a traumatic thing. You don't have thousands of dollars coming in from the state as a foster parent. A lot of these broke down because of that. So we have kind of taken the burden off the host and really had our case managers trained. I like to call them mentors and advocates more so. They are the ones now taking that heavy lift, driving the youth to the appointments, taking them to college, doing some conflict resolution. This has probably been the #1 factor in the success. Let's see. So an enrollment, so what does this have to do with Lacey? Well, as you can, if you don't mind just moving the thing so you can see my pretty graphs. North Thurston Public, so we partner with the big three. I call them the big three. So North Thurston Public Schools, Olympia School District, and Tumwater School District. As you can see, North Thurston Public Schools makes up 44% of the youth that we are serving. And it's actually more than that. We have a couple students who live in Lacey and attend Cascadia High School in Tumwater School District. So we're actually, those numbers don't even reflect the actual population in Lacey that we are serving. Oh gosh, I have so much to say. Okay, so North Thurston has been instrumental in making this program successful. The student navigators, Brenda McCafferty, who was here earlier, who oversees the student navigators, they are our #1 referrals, and 2 of them are hosts. They currently host youth. So yeah, that's amazing. Having the wraparound support is, so I want to say that people have been doing this for years. School staff have been taking youth in for years. Friends, parents have been taking youth in for years. Now we have a supportive, bureaucratic, we take on the burden of insurance. We take on the liability. We're registered with the state. You know, we do all of the compliance to take that risk and that stress off of the people hosting these youth. We have repeat traditional hosts, so people that didn't know the youth, they come back and host. When their youth graduate, go on to the University of Washington on Fulbright engineering scholarships. University, they keep hosting. I'll leave it there. Perfect. I almost made it. I would love to questions.
Are the students that you guys serve generally high school students?
Yeah, so technically the way that the program is written is 13 to 21, but we almost exclusively serve high school students, and our primary referrals come in are juniors and seniors.
Sounds like.
Well, thank you. I learned about something new tonight. I was like, I haven't heard of this host program. That's great.
Any questions come up, please let me know.
So how many host families do you have in this?
So we have 20, right now, so we have 27 youth. I don't have my numbers pulled up, I probably think. We have 14 youth in Lacey. Now it's not 14 hosts. The way that I want to express this, I have one host that is hosting 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We have which are siblings.
It says there's over 20.
Yeah, so 20 has been collectively through the year. This snapshot point right now, because I'm thinking of the data I just reported to the state, is 14, but it's been 20 from the beginning of the school year to probably right about now. Actually, might have been a little bit more. And I know you didn't ask this question, but you could ask it of other people, and I'm hoping you would ask me, how do we know? Well, one, the North Thurston Public Schools, and we do a lot of data because of our contract.
Yeah, well, you also had it in your slide.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
That's helpful when it says 44% are from North Thurston Public Schools. We have a pretty good idea with that number.
Yeah, and North Thurston Lacey is the reason this program is, I'm just gonna add this, we are serving on a coalition to advise other counties, and it's because we're so successful and it's because of the city of Lacey.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, and Cielo. And they're
Good evening.
online.
Can you hear me okay?
Carla.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. I have no slides, and I think I may be the last or second to the last, so I'll try.
Second to the last.
Okay, well, gonna try to make it quick for y'all because it's been a long evening. So I appreciate you sticking with us, especially with so many voices and issues to consider. Says a lot about your dedication. So thank you so much. My name is Carla Ramirez Tenori. I'm the executive director for Cielo. Cielo was founded in 1996 and has supported Indigenous, Latino, refugee, and immigrant communities across Thurston, Mason, and Lewis counties. Neighbors who often face crisis without language access, cultural safety, or trust in traditional systems. We are a small but mighty, multilingual and multicultural staff team of 10 with a very strong volunteer network. We're here as first-time applicants to the City of Lacey, requesting $50,000 to support our Lacey Housing Stability and Advocacy Initiative, which provides emergency rental assistance, economic barrier removal, and culturally responsive advocacy for families at risk of housing loss. Our request is really rooted in the overwhelming need we're seeing in Lacey. We've supported more than 250 families just last year. Many were referred by agencies who rely on our cultural and linguistic expertise and who have actually spoken here today. One such family, a former military household of 5 with deep Latin American roots, had fallen behind on rent due to gaps in accessing veteran-specific services. Despite being eligible for many programs, they struggled with system navigation, documentation, and many delays. With eviction looming, they came to Cielo. Through one of our one-time rental assistance programs and advocacy, we helped them establish a goodwill payment plan with their landlord, keeping the entire family housed and rooted here in Lacey. It was just enough of a bridge to stabilize them and connect them to longer-term supports. Stories like theirs are becoming more common, yet organizations like Cielo, those providing culturally specific services, are now facing major funding challenges due to shifting grant priorities. And we serve everyone, but we specialize in reaching those most often left out. Cielo offers a menu of services: emergency rental assistance, legal advocacy for survivors of violence, navigation for healthcare, education, and civic engagement systems, language access in Spanish and many Indigenous languages, a food and diaper bank supporting over 300 families on a monthly basis, ESL, digital literacy, sewing, and cultural arts classes, small business and entrepreneur programs, financial education, and then coming soon, our new Learn Spanish classes that have been requested by many of the providers and community members here in Lacey. At Cielo, we don't duplicate services, we fill critical gaps and strengthen the existing systems here in Lacey. As I shared, our need is urgent. Over 4,000 Lacey households are severely cost burdened, meaning they spend over 50% of their income on housing costs. And the eviction rate in Thurston County has risen to 2.4%, which is above the state average. Now, while the average rent in Lacey shows that it's $1,900, many families we serve face $2,200 rents just for one-bedroom units because of the new complexes and new builds in the area. Now, we prioritize families with small children, disabilities, multi-generational households, and military ties, established Lacey residents who want to stay in the city that they call home. Cielo may be one of the most under-resourced organizations in this process, but we're also one of the most relied upon. We show up quietly, consistently, and without hesitation because that's what our community deserves. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Carla.
I have a question. Is Carlos still around and involved?
He is not. He is involved to some degree, but he's taken a step back.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Carla.
Thank you,
Thank
Carla.
you.
Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, Boys and Girls Club.
Veronica, thanks for hanging in there.
Listen, resource development is a marathon, friends, so if you want me here all the time. I'm Shalika Trevino. I'm the CEO for Boys and Girls Clubs of Thurston County. I have been with the clubs here locally for nearly 20 years. I've been with the Boys and Girls Club movement, as we refer to it, for 24 years. I actually served as the Lacey branch director for 9 of the years I've been here in Thurston County. Back in 2015, North Thurston Public Schools reached out to us and asked if we would partner with them to serve
kids who were enrolled as McKinney-Vento. That was mentioned earlier by Deanna. The McKinney-Vento Act requires that certain accommodations be made for kids experiencing housing insecurity. One of those pieces is transportation. It's an unfunded mandate, but at that time that they reached out to us, the plan for that population was that they would ride the route, the transportation route, for a couple hours, and at the end of the regular route, they would be taken to their temporary place of residence, whether they're couch surfing, living in a shelter, perhaps living in a car. And so for kids that are already experiencing stress and trauma, spending that amount of time on a bus is not fruitful at all. And so the plan, and what has been going on for almost 10 years is that instead they come to the Boys and Girls Club, they enjoy a snack, they have an opportunity to spend time with their peers, get homework done, play, just be kids for a few hours, until they return, for the evening to wherever it is that they're staying. We don't provide housing. That's not the purpose of Boys and Girls Clubs, right? Our intent, our mission is to inspire and enable kids to realize their greatness. When you're living in the situations that these kids are living in, it's really hard to find greatness. It's hard to find peace and it's hard to find happiness. And so at the club, they're able to have those pieces of their life restored after the end of the school day. If they were to be on the bus or returning to the circumstances that they're living in, it adds to the anguish that they're already experiencing. And so we have been excited to partner with North Thurston for nearly 10 years. Like I said, you all funded this program last year. I'm back because every single year we need funding for this program. Boys and Girls Clubs doesn't sell anything. 60 to 70% of our funding comes through donations. It's a year-round effort to make sure that the kids who need us most have access to our programs. And while our programs are low barrier, low cost, and we do offer fee waiver discounts, this particular population of family cannot afford to pay anything. In most instances, they're looking for work, they're looking for housing, they're receiving some state services, but for the most part, they do not have resources to contribute to childcare or, in our case, licensed exempt programming. This past year, we've served nearly 100 kids with the grant that you guys awarded us last year. That's a 15% increase from the year before. Countywide, we have other districts that have now jumped on to support this effort in the same way that North Thurston has. We've grown by 109% of the kids who are classified as McKinney-Vento. And so knowing that we're stepping in to fill the gap for those kids is important, and we're excited to do that. But the reality is that more and more families are finding themselves without stable housing. And so this funding allows for those families to seek employment, seek housing, restore, what's going on with their families. The article that I provided you includes a parent story, and so I'd love for you to have an opportunity to reference that. In her situation, she was living with relatives, and I'm quoted in the article speaking to best of intention folks are sharing housing situations, but those are really stressful environments for kids to spend time in. And so as many minutes away from that dwelling as they can have, the better off for that co-living situation. In her case, she was able to keep working. She didn't lose her job over childcare. Her kids had a place to be, her teen had a place to be, and she didn't have to extend additional resources while she was saving money for a deposit. Let's see, what do we have? This next story, I believe you received in our grant application, is in reference to the teen center that we run across the street from North Thurston High School. That is 6th through 12th grade. And our branch director, Miss Latasha, works really hard doing kind of street outreach in front of the building. And so as kids are leaving, she gives them snack as they pass by. And on one afternoon, she intercepted a young man whose name is not Jamie, but in this case, we use that name to protect him. And so he was walking by with his grandma, and they got to talking, and he had a tour of the club, and grandma explained their circumstances, and he was signed up for membership that day. A little while later, grandma was hospitalized, and he was caring for himself.
And they were actually in temporary housing situation when they started attending, when he started attending the club. Grandma went into the hospital. He was then responsible for caring for himself. The school wrapped around him. We wrapped around him, made sure that he had everything that he needed. And then grandma was released from the hospital. During that time, his bike was stolen while he was grocery shopping, and we were able to match him with a new bike and bags attached to it and a lock and all the things. And so he was able to come out of that situation. He attends the club currently. And so really, this is not intended to be a housing situation. And as has been mentioned, you guys have heard from so many people who truly do need support to fill the gaps for these vulnerable populations. We need the support in order to maintain this for families in Lacey.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Any question?
I'm really familiar, and you can adopt, you know, they've got Christmas trees and different things, and there's so much that
My
the
my son
community.
goes to the after school every day,
Oh.
Tasha is one of
Yeah.
his favorite people, and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
The club is for so many more
Yep.
people than the people you described, so.
Yeah, I mean, the club is really a melting pot of kids from all backgrounds.
I also used to attend the Boys and Girls Club in elementary schools.
Okay, very cool. Well, we do serve a very diverse population, and in many instances, families can pay the fee that we charge, which is affordable. But in a lot of situations, they can't. And so making sure that we prioritize the kids who need us most is definitely at the heart of what we do. But we couldn't do it. And I do want to just reference the amount that we applied for was specific because we know there are so many programs that would be asking for resources. And so we could have easily submitted for 50,000. We didn't intentionally because we're going to put the pieces together with other pots of money and funding. So
Thank you.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for staying so long. Thank you. Thank you all for staying.
Have that motion for that? Okay, I won't then.
Just need an announcement.
All right, I think that that does conclude our presentations for the Human Services Grant applicants this evening. So with that, we will adjourn this evening, Thursday, June 5th at 8:47.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle, quick question. When are we bringing our rubrics, our filled out rubrics to the next meeting, or do you want them in advance of the next meeting?
I'm gonna send everybody an email tomorrow
Perfect.
with instructions. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if Nancy is still on the line, we saved her all the literature.
Thank you very much. And
Okay.
yes, I'm still here. And I just have one thing. I was wondering if maybe we could start all over and hear it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I got